Is there a best option for which way you get to zone 2?
There's not a best, but there is a best program-wise. Like, what I wouldn't want you to do is put on a weight every day and add that load, and slowly you're breaking down tissue. And not, even though you're in zone 2, now you're adding another stressor. Same thing with the incline. Like, there's a lot to be said. If you can go flat and get to zone 2, that may be, like, maybe you're fit enough you can't without running, essentially. But there's a lot to be said for having flat days and having incline days, and so putting it all together, and it's a matter of how you stack it, and stacking days is what builds the durability.
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek, brought to you by Element. I'm your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
Hi, I'm Juliana Chaunce, a.k.a. Chaunce.
Got a few reminders. Let's start with this one. You don't even know this, but now you do. We have a hiker meetup here in Golden on April 14th. This is celebrating Chaunce's engagement anniversary.
Wow, thank you for planning that.
Is that the date that you got engaged?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's going down at the Golden Mill. So, not a ton of lead time here. Hopefully you guys listen to the episodes the day they come out. Shame on you if you wait any time whatsoever, but this is the most advanced notice I think we've ever given for a hiker meetup, so beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, if you're in the Denver-ish area and you want to come mingle, you don't have to be a thru-hiker, just have an interest in backpacking. That's good enough to get you in the door. It's totally free. I'll be there. I think Chaunce will be there. I just sprung this on you.
Yeah, I don't have any plans apart from my engagement anniversary, and I don't see why that wouldn't be a great way to spend it.
Yeah.
So I say, why not?
Bring Gare Bear.
I'll bring Gare Bear. If you have a dog, here's important things. If you have a dog, bring the dog, especially if the weather's nice. If the weather's bad, we'll be inside. But if the weather's nice and we're outside, bring dogs.
Bring dogs.
Because they let dogs come, and I'll bring Harper. And when Twinkle comes, he brings Alma, and they are both Aussies and very cute. So definitely bring a dog if you have an Aussie. Bring a dog in general if you have one. If you have a really small, annoying, yappy dog, you can leave it at home. Yeah. But other dogs...
Put it on Craigslist.
Yeah, bring all good dogs. And come to the Golden Mill on the 14th.
Yeah. Yes. Co-sign all of that. And Jess will be there, and we tossed around maybe the idea of doing some social content. So if you want to be on the Trek social media, possibility. Next is, if you're taking on a long-distance trek in 2026 and you want to be part of the baddest team in the backcountry, we are still accepting applications to be a blogger for the Trek. That could be Sobo season, shorter thru-hikes, any later starting thru-hikes still counts for this year. So if that is of interest, all of the perks have been mentioned many, 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 many times on this podcast, but you can head to the link in the show notes to learn even more. Last but not least, if you want to support the show, the best way you can do so is via our Patreon page, patreon.com/backpackerradio. For as little as $5 per month, you get every episode advertisement free. That's a hell of a deal. Chaunce, what else will they get?
You will get the satisfaction of knowing that you are supporting keeping your favorite podcast on air for 352 episodes. And that is a lot of time and a big team that takes to make it happen. So it is nice to have that support. But it's not only about us. You get every episode without ads. Yeah. And that's fun too, especially if you are in the zone hiking on a trail this summer and your phone is in your fanny pack or your side pocket. And we know how annoying it is to take that out when you're in a good groove and the trekking poles are swinging. You don't want to take that out if you happened to be one of the terrible people in the world who skip past the great ads we have from our wonderful advertisers. But if you did happen to be one of those people, you could bypass all of it by just being a patron and getting all the ads ad-free.
Yes, and your support is very
ad-free.
Appreciated. Advertisers come and go, and we are selective with who we bring on for advertisers. I've said no to a few of late because I didn't think that they'd be a good fit. But Patreon supporters are forever. I mean, not technically, but moral of the story is
in our hearts.
Yeah.
You're forever.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like I know these people. I haven't met some of them, but...
The list of names at the end of the episode, though, that's what I dream about every single night.
Yeah.
It's just running through that list.
Yeah, I could do it with my eyes shut.
Yeah.
Do you think you could do it with your eyes shut?
All of them, easily.
Okay, let's try at the end.
Joke's on you, I got them tattooed on the inside of my eyelids.
Yeah. When you sweat, you lose a lot more than water. You're burning through sodium, potassium, magnesium, all the stuff your body needs to keep going strong on trail, thinking clearly, and sleeping well at night. That's why I'm a huge fan of LMNT. It's a zero-sugar electrolyte mix with a science-backed ratio that's heavy on sodium, which is exactly what thru-hikers and long-distance backpackers are losing all day long. No sugar, no junk, just what your body actually needs. When I'm backpacking, I'll usually drink one element throughout the day and then have another packet before bed. It helps me rehydrate, keeps the leg cramps away, and I'll wake up feeling like $1,000,000. Another underrated benefit, LMNT makes those dodgy water sources actually taste good. If you've ever filtered from a silty creek, a cow tank, or some lukewarm pipe coming out of the ground, you know how clutch that is. It's not just an on-trail thing either. LMNT is my go-to hangover prevention tool. One packet before bed, another in the morning, and you wake up hitting the erase button on a night of bad decisions. My favorites are lemonade, raspberry, and citrus. A cold LMNT lemonade on a hot day tastes like absolute heaven. And the citrus works shockingly well as a no-calorie mix-in for a backcountry margarita, perfect while car camping, or the lazy version at home. Good news, Backpacker Radio listeners can score a free LMNT sample pack with any drink mix purchase by going to drinklmnt.com/thetrek. That sample pack includes citrus salt, raspberry salt, watermelon salt, and orange salt. 2 stick packs of each flavor, 8 total. No coupon code needed. Just use the URL. Again, that's drinklmnt.com/thetrek to get 8 free packets with any drink mix purchase. The deal is only available for a limited time.
Okay, no more beating around the bush. Chaunce loves that. Let's get right to another interview, a follow-up interview with our pal, Dr. Freeborn Mondello. Dr. Mondello is a physical therapist and athlete based in Evergreen, Colorado. After graduating from Regis University in 2014 with a doctorate in physical therapy, Freeborn eventually opened his own practice, Run Free PT, where he provides physical therapy, coaching, and whole-person-focused health advice. Freeborn, thank you so much for joining us here again on Backpacker Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You mentioned that you were kind of maybe not surprised. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that you had gotten a pretty solid response from your first showing here on Backpacker Radio. Is that accurate?
I think that's a fair take. Yeah. I got a lot of feedback, a lot of people reaching out, and I would say surprised at how excited people were.
Yeah.
I deal with this every single day, so it becomes a little more routine in my head, but this is why I do what I do, to share and hopefully serve the population out there and get people healthier, and in this case reaching their goals. So yeah,
love it. I usually say that I don't want to retrace old steps when we have a guest on for a second time, but I think given the nature of this stuff and the fact that it's been 5 years now, there's probably going to be some overlap with the previous episode, which is fine, including, I think, very relevant, not something we can gloss over. I'd love to hear more again about your endurance experience.
My personal endurance experience. Yeah. So I was a 20-year wrestling athlete, but grew up racing my bike. So endurance experience started early at that point, racing my mountain bike, World Cups, national, like at a pretty high level. And then as wrestling took over my life, less endurance specific. But then post-wrestling career, I spent about 15 years engaging in some serious endurance training. So I've run about, 15 or 20 marathons, a few ultras, yet to do a full 100-miler, but that's on the bucket list. I've done 3 Ironmans, complete Ironmans, so those were fun and adventurous, and we'll see if I can get back now with 2 young kids. It's a bucket list item. Yeah. And then a lot of cycling. Most recent kind of endurance endeavor was I did the classic triple bypass, which I think you may have done, didn't you?
I signed up for it, and then I realized that I don't like cycling.
Yeah, it's a lot of, that was the longest bike ride I've ever done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a grinder. I'm an endurance guy. I still look like a wrestler, but I love to go out there and just grind through. So it is also one of the reasons that training endurance athletes, coaching endurance athletes, rehabbing them, of which in my mind backpackers are just full-on endurance athletes with load, which adds an extra dynamic. This is why this is my passion, to work with folks who understand this and love to engage in these activities. So
what's your marathon time?
Well, my fastest marathon was 3:20.
Nice.
That was a number of years ago, so we'll see if I can get back to it. We are, I guess we'll find out today. My wife and I are in the lottery for New York, which we've never run. it's more of a bucket list item for her, but I guess it would be pretty cool. It goes through the 5 boroughs. It's this whole thing. Basically, either you're a pro or you get in through the lottery. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think the results come out tonight. So
Wow.
maybe I'll let you guys know I'm running that.
Yeah, awesome.
For a second, I thought you were going to tell us that you were about to go run one after this.
No, not quite.
And which Ironmans have you done?
Yeah, so I started, this will tell you a lot about me. So my first Ironman was 2014. It was Boulder's first ever Ironman. It was also my year I was finishing my doctorate program. So I trained for my Ironman while finishing my doctorate and sitting for the boards. So that was the first one. I then did Coeur d'Alene, which was Boulder's classic because it's Boulder, but Coeur d'Alene was stunning and amazing. If anyone's, I would imagine a lot of you have been in that country.
I've heard it's a good vacation destination.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then I did Arizona was my third one, which
Cool.
in theory is the easy one because it's flat, but it was actually more miserable, which
Sounds hot.
Hikers may understand.
Yeah.
Well, it's in late November, so I was also living here, so there was an added challenge of how do you train for an Ironman going into, I think it's about the end of November.
Yeah.
So unlike this year, I think we actually had gotten a couple snows
Sure.
and I was swimming in Bear Creek Lake
Yeah.
in snow and sleet.
So wrestling, running, triathlons, mountain biking, long distance cycling, of the sports that you've been involved with, I guess let's throw CrossFit into that.
Yeah, that's true too.
Which ones yield the most injuries? I'm going to guess CrossFit.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah, I guess CrossFit, we could talk about CrossFit and why it works and doesn't work if we want to delve in a little bit. But I think the endurance athletes actually get probably more injuries than the CrossFitter. CrossFitters get more of a burnout situation more often than injury, to where they just feel fatigued and slowly phase out. But all of the endurance sport, I get cycling's a little less, but like the running and wrestling was wrestling was the healthiest. I was also that ended around 25, so maybe I haven't done it much, although I did, I guess, delve into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well in the last couple of years,
Sure.
which has been fun and kind of my adult version.
Yeah.
That's a little less intense. I would say it's the long, grindy endurance sports and time on your feet, though, that definitely produce the most injuries.
Huh. It's interesting that wrestling is, you said, one of the safer sports.
Yeah, wrestling builds this foundation. And I started at 5, so it's maybe somewhat biased. Like I would, in my dream world, we'd start training all these young kids the right way. And wrestling kind of forces that. Maybe something like gymnastics. Like you have to be mobile and in control and body aware and aerobically fit. I mean, even as a high school wrestler, I was getting up and running 6 miles just to be fit for wrestling. And so you have this real aerobic base, but also you have to be strong. I mean, I could squat and bench 300 pounds as a 120-pound high school wrestler.
Whoa, that's insane.
Right. So you build this base, though. Like, this is the wrestling world. We're all crazy, endless amounts of push-ups and pull-ups and foundation.
Yeah.
And so then it looks dangerous, but then the injuries don't come probably because you're prepped.
Yeah. That's quite the athletic resume, to be able to bench 300 at 120 pounds, an Ironman, several marathons, a competitive cyclist. That's fucking nuts.
I mean, I was thinking about that. Just, you can get a picture of who I am. So I grew up in New Mexico. The Gila was my backyard. My parents owned property that bordered it. So I had a 3 million acre backyard that I was exploring from, I don't know, as young as I can remember.
Silver City, right?
Silver City,
Yeah.
Yep. And then we built our house, but we started with like a 1-bedroom shack, and then on the other side of 5 acres built our house. Ultimately, though, by the time I was 14 or 15, I moved into the guest house, the original house, and lived there with my bed like in this back, I think it was supposed to be the closet, and then the whole main room was a weight room. And then I had a rope hanging in the tree. So it's just been my life. Like, this is who I am. I train. Getting the doctorate kind of helped me understand the principles, but it's just, this is my passion, is to move and train and coach others to do it as well. So
that's awesome.
As someone who has so many different areas of interest in the fitness world.
Yeah.
Are there any specific ones of these categories or different styles that pair best with backpacking? Like, let's say I love to hike in the summer, or I go out and I do a long distance trail. Are any of these, whether it's CrossFit or biking or running or whichever one of them, like a peas and carrots, where it's like if you are primarily a backpacker, this one pairs really well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a perfect question, because I think I work with thousands of clients now over the years as a clinician, and I was a personal trainer, so I've been a personal trainer for 20 plus years. So just putting that all together and then realizing people aren't necessarily like me with their ADD and all they want to do is train in some way. But the point being, the secret has been finding and refining and what's the base. And that's my pitch. If you come in and see me as a client at the studio or even digitally online, the pitch is like, what our goal over the next 8 or 12 weeks is to find this foundation that we know will work for you and that you can do for the next 20, 30, 40. I want you to be 80 and doing a thru-hike. Like, why not? If you train properly, it's possible. So the real foundational training that's required, it's two pieces. It's one, you need at least 2 days a week of really foundational, basic, functional strength movement. And that means it's got to be heavy. It's got to be low rep. This is where we went most of the time last time, and we should delve into that more. We can talk programming, but it's at least 2, preferably 3, of really building a strength foundation that kind of makes you unbreakable and builds that tissue tolerance. And you need the boring zone 2, which hikers can be better at than some athletes. I've also worked with a lot of hikers that think training means running sprints or doing as much vert as they can in a week, and that's often, or as much descent, which again, like, we're not allowing adaptations. So zone 2 is this kind of sweet, boring spot, and the research has been there for years in other endurance sports. Maybe some hikers are getting to know this, but it's hard to keep that. So to answer your question, if you want to be a backpacker and a hiker, you need an aerobic base and a strength base, and you've got to put time in. And I think probably the biggest gap is the strength base, but I see a lot of zone 2 just not being appreciated. Like, it's just too easy and too boring, and there's big mountains to climb and hard treks to engage in, and we just jump to the next thing and raise that intensity before we're ready, which is, I mean, that's where the CrossFit gets in trouble. Like, CrossFit in and of itself can be brilliant programming, but I mean, Zach's probably experienced this. I certainly have as a semi-competitive dude who walk in a CrossFit gym. You just go too hard. Mm-hmm. You ramp the intensity without the prep, and then you cause injuries and problems.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's a overlap between people that don't love or thrive or excel at the zone 2 stuff for the reason that you said, because it's boring, that also would get off trail because of mental reason. Like, not for a physical injury, but because they're bored or it's not as exciting or adrenaline packed. Yeah. I wonder if doing the zone 2 stuff as training trains that part too, because of the boring aspect.
Sure. I very much understand that. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that feel that way. I actually look forward to all my zone 2 training sessions, because like, it's hard to get yourself geared up for like a sprinting workout. Like, it's gonna be real hard. It's gonna suck. You'll feel good at the end of it, but like, the process of getting your heart rate to whatever 90% of its max is not a comfortable experience. Whereas like zone 2, you can watch Netflix and still be tuned in enough that you can pay attention to it. That's
an interesting concept, though, to dig in with you, because let's consider you, who's very fit in this world, right? Like
pretty fit.
Well, pretty fit, fair enough, but like, that's a different formula. Like, your zone 2 is casual and easy, and other people might struggle to find that, and like, also are trying to speed into the process. Like, you've spent years building that foundation.
Yeah. It is kind of shocking for people that you have to let off the throttle a little bit to get to zone 2. So actually, can you define what is zone 2?
Yeah. So it's this, you're for sure below 70% of your heart rate zone. The best way, especially for hikers, like, I mean, my cyclists and runners are super nerdy with their tech, and maybe some of your folks are too, but I would say this world less so I see it. The best thing is you're working, but at a conversational pace. So if you're out hiking and you can't like take a phone call and carry on a conversation, you're probably pushing past that zone 2. It should really feel like it's not effort. Now, you can get in trouble by being so lazy that you're in this kind of gray zone of zone 1, but I would venture you're actually going to get most of the benefits. So easier you'll get it. And then the other problem or challenge of that is most of my programming ends up being time-based instead of mileage-based, because we love mileage-based, like I'm going to do 6 miles today or whatever, but that's where I see a lot of people get it. And even if they do zone 2 for 4 miles and then they need to get back to the truck or get down the hill or get up the hill, then you push. So it should be, I mean, the actual answer is it should be somewhere in that kind of a little bit of effort, moderately hard, but you can still carry on a comfortable conversation. I mean, you mentioned doing zone 2. How do you measure? Do you use heart rate?
Yeah, Apple Watch is typically it. I think at this point now, like I've never gotten, what is it, the lactose measure?
Yeah, right.
Like I've never gotten that scientific with it. But for me, I think it's been calculated at like 124 to 135 is kind of my sweet spot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be mindful of that. But yeah, I can tell like I'm working, I'm sweating, but I'm not at the point where like I'm looking at the clock to see when the workout's going to be over with.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's stick on this, but make it a little even more basic. How does someone find, because we're talking about percentages of a heart rate, how does someone figure out what their heart rate that they should base these percentages off is? Yeah,
so I mean, and super easy to Google, they're all over the place, but 220 minus your age kind of gives you a general idea of max heart rate. And then you just multiply that times 70% or 60%. All of that, though, I guess one of the caveats I would say, and I mean, it's even, using your watch, the watches have gotten so much better, and you could even program your watch if you want to be dirty. Whatever, almost any heart rate watch will be kind of set alarms if you wanted. But we also know there's so many outliers and so many variables, and watches aren't the most accurate. Like you really need to wear a chest strap if you want the most accurate heart rate. This company has come out with an armband that's pretty good, although they're just trying to get it to sync with other people's watches. They were using their watch as well. So I would say use the heart rate, use the formula, find your max, and it kind of gives you some pretty good feedback. But also don't forget about, there's this RPE concept of, 6 or 7 out of 10, somewhere below that. There's just the calculation or the ability to carry on a conversation. I think that's probably more important, because I guess most of us maybe do have heart rate showing up on our watches now, but I guess I discount it a little because they're not the most accurate. And especially if you start working a little harder, it tends to, sometimes it doesn't pick it up, and sometimes it like suddenly my Garmin will say I'm at 180, and like I'm not even breathing hard. I'm not at 180. Yeah. 46 years old. I'm not like that's not what's going on. So heart rate's the most accurate. Well, lactate would be the most accurate. Most of us aren't doing that. That's super fun if you've got the time, but then you can't really apply it to training anyways. So.
Yeah.
So just to give an example for the people, if I'm me and I start with 220 and I minus 34, then I get 186. So if I'm looking to enter zone 2, I would do times 0.7, and that would be 130.
Right.
So that would be where I enter zone 2.
That would be your max. So that range, and they're different. Again, these aren't like 100% defined, but you'd say 60 to 70%. So we'd probably ask you to try to be 115 to 130 would, like if I was prescribing you a zone 2 workout. Okay. But yeah, that's exactly right. And which is low, you'll find like, and it'll also really clearly show you like you're fit, you have a real good base, or you don't, which can be really, really frustrating. And it doesn't lie though. I mean, that's the thing, like it'll lie a little, like it just said, it's not completely accurate. But if you're looking at your watch and it's just staying at 150 or 160, you need to slow down and you need to put in time to build that base, or you're already stressing the tissues and the nervous system, and you're just creating injury even in your training. Like, you're better off training easier, training less, respecting these boundaries a little bit, and going on the trail starting your hike a little less fit than you think you would like to be. Having trained a little less, you'll be more durable for the duration of the hike than having started already beating up your system. Because as soon as you're out on trail, you're really losing every day. Like, this is you can't recover well, you can't eat well, and like every day you're kind of wearing yourself down. So if you start a couple steps behind, you're better off starting a little less fit and then just going a little slower if needed.
That's interesting. And just to put into perspective, like, I'd say I'm pretty fit. I wouldn't say very fit, but like, I can't run at zone 2.
Right.
I could
you
run
can.
I
prescribe zone 2 for runners as well.
Yeah,
so.
But like, when I go out for my run, like, I'm always well over it.
Right.
Because like, at the pace that I'm running at where I am in zone 2, it feels like too slow and too boring. Like, I get competitive about my pacing. So when I'm doing zone 2, like, I'm almost always on an incline treadmill, like, walking at a 3.5 pace or something like that. But yeah, anytime I try to run, even like a slow run, like 6 miles per hour, I tend to be over the zone 2 limit. So yeah, it's a pretty low threshold.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with, we're here in Colorado. I've worked with some of the top professional, like, triathletes and runners, even out of Boulder. And we've had them doing, easy runs in that 6 mile an hour pace range.
Yeah.
Because it just, like, we've got to pull you back. We've got to get the system to recover.
Yeah.
We've got to build this foundation. I mean, we all know a house needs a foundation, but then we refuse to do it physically. And most of us have done such a bad job with our, like, lives. We need to start where we're at today, assess, and then build from here, not pretend. I mean, even me, like, I was a college wrestler. That was now 20 plus years ago. So that was not last week.
Yeah.
Something Zach said that triggered a thought in my head is, so for the off season, I work from home, for example, but I know a lot of other people will have, like, one of those desk treadmills now that they're a little more, not in style, but I think they've made a lot more affordable options. And for me, it's great to be able to go on the desk treadmill at home, especially when the weather sucks. But something Zach mentioned that triggered it is I've got options for how to make this desk treadmill more difficult. And I can either turn up the speed on it, or I can raise the incline on it, or I can put on, like, a weighted vest, for example. Is there a best option for which way you get to zone 2 out of, like, the available modifications you can make to something like that? Or is it just as long as you get there, that's great?
Yeah, that's a good question. That starts to blend the two, the strength and the aerobic base. And this is why, like, rucking's become such a big thing, and it's really, people are getting a lot of results from it. But there's not a best, but there is a best program-wise. Like, what I wouldn't want you to do is put on a weight every day and add that load, and slowly you're breaking down tissue, and not, even though you're in zone 2, now you're adding another stressor. Same thing with the incline. Like, there's a lot to be said if you can go flat and get to zone 2. That may be, like, maybe you're fit enough you can't without running, essentially. But there's a lot to be said for having flat days and having incline days, and so putting it all together, and it's a matter of how you stack it. And stacking days is what builds the durability to be able to go, because you go out for weeks or days or months. Like, there's all these variations, but you've got to build some durability by stacking days, but you've also got to find the way to recover and pull some of those back. So I would change what you're doing. Some days flat, some days incline, some days weight. All of those inputs need to go into the nervous system and the tissues in order to build a really durable athlete, but not all constantly.
I'm guessing this might be the same answer just based on that, but if I have the choice to, like, I've got a weighted vest that I could put on, or I've got those weights that you could put around your ankles, for example, are either of those better, or is it the same type of switch it up?
Yeah, In my mind, the weights around the ankles don't serve that valuable of a purpose. They're giving you some resistance, but they're challenging muscles in the system in a way that isn't as this kind of wasted effort. It's almost starts to fall into this junk training kind of system, because is it really practical? Is it really doing something that matches with specificity what we want to go do in the real world? Whereas the load up around our body and through the system is much more specific. So I would definitely, in that case, choose like the weighted vest or a pack or whatever makes the most sense for where you're training.
If you're in the market for stylish, affordable shades that actually hold up on trail, listen up. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses brand on a mission to make premium eyewear accessible to everyone. And they've got over 300,000 five-star reviews to back that up. Polarized lenses with super clear optics, durable frames, solid hinges, and clean classic styles that look sharp on and off trail. And my favorite part? Their Lost and Broken Protection Program. Drop them in a creek crossing, sit on them at camp, leave them in a hitch. They've got you covered from day one. Just reach out and they'll send you a new pair. No stress, no hassle. Finally, sunglasses you don't have to worry about babying on trail. Discount time. Backpacker Radio listeners, Shady Rays is offering you their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code TREK for 40% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's 40% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Code TREK, T-R-E-K. This deal is only good for a limited time, so don't wait.
So somebody signs up with you and they want to get ready for a thru-hike. Let's say in the weeks leading up to the thru-hike, what is the minimum threshold of zone 2 training that you'd expect out of them?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a minimum threshold. Like in my perfect world, I really build volume over time, and that's the my most ideal even short program is 12 weeks. We can talk about the one I was just mentioning that I built this digital 18-week program specifically for thru-hikers, and I have a similar one for marathoners. And at that point, what we're doing is we're stacking days. Like towards the end of that program, we're getting maybe three or 4 days of zone 2 in a week, and some of those are weighted, so with a vest or a pack on. Some of those are just flat, and those can be anywhere from a couple hours to even 30 or 40 minutes just to get stimulus. What we do know is that, becomes interesting when we think of these really long endurance events that we're doing hours on end, but after 3 hours the physiology benefits kind of drop off a cliff. So capping, you might want to still go get these really long training days on a weekend when you're getting close, as long as you have the time to recover. But the reality is, if you're doing all the proper work as a complete program and your aerobic base is hitting that 3 hour kind of threshold, then you're probably physiologically getting the benefits without getting the burnout. We want to go do 4 or 5 hours, at least, but then you're probably not getting much out of that. Maybe some mental building, but if you're going to go out on the trail for months, I'm not sure if that mental build, you probably need other tactics to build the mental stability.
So over the course of a week, 3 3-hour days is superior to 1 9-hour day.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wouldn't even stack 3. I might, but a couple 3 hours maybe, or you might do I might have a program hit, a 2-hour day and then a 3-hour day the next day, and that stacking. But then the important part of training is that then you take the next day and just rest.
Yeah.
I think we get this thought in our heads that okay, I'm stacking days and I got to really build it to look like it's going to look out there. But the reality is, what we want while we're home is we want to really raise that floor really high, because as I said earlier, once you're on trail, you're slowly deteriorating. It's kind of this game of how high is my floor, how big did I build that base so that I can make it all the way and not be broken before the finish, whatever finish line that is. So you want to take advantage of the chance to recover and sleep in your own bed. And you only get fitter and stronger when you're recovering. You don't get fitter doing the 9-hour day or the 3-hour day. You get fitter the next day. Mm-hmm. And so if we stack a couple of long days, take a full recovery day, maybe come down and come back and do a high intensity day. Like we need some of those high intensity days, because what those do, and this is where CrossFit has really brought this to the forefront, with high intensity, we can biohack our system, so to speak. Like you can cheat that a little. The problem is if you use all high intensity, you just fry the whole system and you never recover. So you can build some of that zone 2 fitness without doing it, but your body breaks. So you've got to find that middle ground. And so program wise, like, and again, like I say ideal, but I just had a client who came to me 4 weeks out from a marathon. He's broken. He hurt his, IT band, very common. He's going to do his marathon. He's insistent. That's his goal. Fine. So we've got 4 weeks to try to figure out what to do. So we can hack through by like really tapping into what the nervous system needs. And, we can talk about the nervous system is really what's controlling all of these body responses, like how we build that, how we reset it, how we calm it, how we ramp it up. That really guides the tissue, especially the muscular side. So there's ways to change it, but yeah, ideally this is where you like stack some of those 2 or 3 hour days and then recover really well and then stack more, and you get way fitter that way than, part of this is mental health too, right? I'm an endurance athlete, as you guys heard. Any of us doing this, like, are using some of this for our mental health. So that's a conversation I always want to have with clients or just anyone listening. Like, I get it. So you may want to go do a 9-hour day, but like, it depends on your goal. If it's just because you're training for the summer and you're not planning some specific goal, you just want to go do a 9-hour day, then go do it. But if you're trying to get as fit and prepared as you can to kick off next month, then that's not going to benefit you.
Yeah. You mentioned the central nervous system a couple of times and calming that. So in addition to, I think everyone knows, get good sleep, 8 hours, whatever, the number's different for different people. And nutrition, and I don't want to gloss over nutrition, but at this point, people should at least have a foundation of knowing, like, eat enough protein, and we can get more into that. I'm curious, are there any other, like, advanced techniques that you would recommend for people to calm their nervous systems to speed up that recovery process?
Yeah, advanced techniques as in, like, take it seriously and respect it. It's truly, though, like, so one of the most advanced techniques we've got most recently from the research is taking 5 minutes to lay on your back and put your feet up on the wall and breathe post session, whether that's a long hike or a strength training session or any session, will drastically change the response over the next 24 to 48 hours of your nervous system, and of actually how you recover physiologically completely.
5 minutes, wow.
5 minutes. So none of us do it. Yeah. We refuse. Like, we're just, no. Same thing with, getting up in the morning or having some sort of meditative mindfulness, spiritual, whether you're praying or meditating or some breathing thing for 5 minutes every morning, changes the entire system. And so what we're learning as we delve more into the nervous system and how to train it is, it really, we just, especially in this day and age, or phones or computers, like, we just don't down regulate ever, and so we don't recover ever. And so the simplest things can be so astronomically life-changing in getting it to down regulate and giving yourself a chance to recover. And if we're going down that nervous system pathway, like, injury or that first time you feel pain, you may have a traumatic injury, but most of the endurance injuries, most of your hiking injuries aren't like, I fell off a cliff and broke my leg. They're more of like, low back started hurting, my hips started hurting, now my knee's hurting. That's a signal from the nervous system telling you something. And if we can, this is where we can, like, hack a little too if we can change that experience, because that message is going to your head and say, I'm hurt. First, it's a warning signal. So like, let's find out what's going wrong. But if we're out there on trail and we need to like finish somehow, it's also like we need to figure out how to calm that and to reset that and to move properly. So you'll see like any of my programs, I'll take anyone from top athletes who just finished a race really strong, or just, last year my Thru-Hike went perfect. I just want to make sure I'm prepared. And we'll take a week or two where we train good, healthy movement. We kind of partner with the body. We really reassure the nervous system that we're doing this like in tandem. We're not fighting it. And it makes all the difference into how you actually end up adapting.
That's really interesting. So from like a working with your central nervous system to prepare for this standpoint, like is it all posture based or what?
No, yeah. So that's good. So it's not, I wouldn't say not posture based at all. Like you need to think of it more as like, I think if we think of breathing and meditation, like tapping into that kind of thing, because really we're trying to get it to not feel threatened. So if we picture, like I live up in the mountains in Evergreen, I've got 2 big German Shepherds that are crazy. But we're in the mountains, right? So I've got a yard, it's fenced, I've got 2 little kids, and elk, the big bull elk, the mom elk, they all just like wander through our yard. Like it's not even the bears, the mountain lions, everything. And so we love having the dogs because they keep the danger out. Like that's the job, and my kids can play and I don't have to think about it. But the dogs will also sit in the middle of the yard barking at air, wind, a leaf.
Yeah.
But our nervous system does the same thing. So in some sense, we've got to, just like the dog, if I call them over and like calm them down, we've got to breathe. We've got to calm the system, and then we've got to teach it to move well. But it's not really posture. It might be as simple as, unweighted squats, or just going for an easy walk, no load, no zone 2, no agenda, 20 minutes around the block, just like moving feels good. Mm-hmm. This is okay. My knee's been a little sore. Actually, it's not broken. I've just been overdoing it, or I just haven't given it a break, or I just haven't recovered. So it's this fine line. And then how do we train it to be more resilient? This is where what we do is we usually shortcut it. We're usually that guy that says, I'm going out in a month. Can you help me? And we can try to find ways to help. But really what we should do is we should have a year-round zone 2 base, a year-round strength base, and progressively build and stack. And I think that's the biggest mistake maybe, is that we don't give ourselves enough time and consistency. So we pretend we're at a higher level, and we pretend 4 weeks is enough to prep me, and then I'll just get fit while I'm out there. And it just doesn't work that way. Like the system, and that's where the nervous system specifically starts to get fried and starts to not recover, and then starts to literally cause injuries. Because most of those chronic niggling pain things, like we can biomechanically look at you and say, yeah, your knee's caving in, the hip's weak, like this is what's causing this warning signal. But it is a warning signal. It is just my German Shepherds out there barking when nothing's in the yard yet. Like we can probably solve this. The nervous system is built to warn you, but then it gets triggered. And then if you've continued to push it through some of these things, it will continue to light up when it shouldn't, continue to send false signals. So then we have to kind of find a way to build a program that doesn't threaten it. And so different, but the breathing, just the healthy movements that are not so intense, can kind of start to do. This is where stretching, like there's almost nobody that needs to be stretching as we would define it. Like it's actually becomes a threat to the nervous system. We think we're tight and don't feel good and we should stretch, but then you're just like pulling joints to end ranges they don't even need, and like the system starts to tighten up like a rubber band and like fight back, and now you've got things ramped up again, and you're not recovering, and you're not solving the problems. You're probably making it worse again.
So what about, sorry to cut you off.
I didn't start.
What about if somebody has a reduced range of motion? Like for instance, if they can't squat down to parallel or even close to it, it seems like they should be doing something to be getting back to that range. If it's not stretching, what is it?
Yeah, and this is where it becomes, it's worth, like, if there's really a obvious lack of range of motion, squatting's interesting, like you can notice that, then you might need to like do an assessment, get someone to help you. But really, it's likely the nervous system, most often protecting. What we see, I mean, the most obvious example of this, just to paint a picture, and then I'll go a little further there, is like if you get a surgery, or say a knee replacement, like I just was working with someone today who had a knee replacement, that surgeon puts the knee in, sews you all back up, and makes sure that knee moves through full range of motion, more than it ever has. And then you wake up and you can't move your leg to save your life. Some of that's swelling, but what it's not is shortened muscles that need to be stretched. It's a ramped up nervous system protecting, it's swelling. And so can you not squat because the nervous system is protecting maybe a weak hip at that bottom range, because your hip goes back into internal range of motion. A lot of us have lost that range at the bottom for some reason. And is the system protecting that? So if you just go pick some random stretch or ask ChatGPT, which can be helpful, can be not. Maybe we should chat about that at some point too, because it's pretty interesting, some of the results I get on there. You may or may not help, but you're probably not needing what you would consider stretching. You probably don't need to go do yoga type stretching unless you want to be a yogi. You need to do mobility work. So most often, if someone can't hit the bottom of their squat, my solution is to load that a little, maybe with let's call it a 20-pound kettlebell, and you go to where you're comfortable. You kind of sit there for 30 seconds or so, comfortable. Don't fight it. Don't make it hurt. And then you come out of it. And you do that day after day after day, and you'll find the body allowing you to reach that bottom of that squat.
Interesting. So that'll get you better to a healthy range of motion compared to like yoga, like you said.
Exactly.
On trail, sometimes but you'll see people at the start of the day stretching, or you'll see people at lunch stretching, and you're kind of blowing my mind by saying that might not be the best. What, with the mindset that once you hit over 3 hours, it starts to decline in, what it's doing. Let's say I'm hiking a full day on trail, and I'm going to be going day after day, but I take an hour lunch, and I take a mid-morning break, and I take a mid-afternoon break. If stretching isn't the best thing that I could do during that time, is there something better that I could be doing so that when I do start this next however many hour chunk that I'm going to be hiking for before my next break, I'm doing something to reset or not keep pushing further, or just, help at all?
Yep. Yeah, that's perfect. So absolutely. I mean, it would be, we all know what a warm-up is in the gym. Well, we don't, but we know the concept at least. But it would be that, and this is back to the central nervous system of needing to just like, sometimes we have a hard time, especially on trail, whatever, you're a month in, you're fatigued, you're just wrecked, you took your hour lunch, and you're like, I don't want to move. So what some of us do is put the pack on and just charge on and hope for the best. And you're fighting a threat there, and that can lead to injuries. But what you can do that would be more helpful, not stretch, because stretching is kind of the same thing. You're just pushing the body into positions it doesn't want to go for no meaningful reason. I mean, especially if we think about hiking, there's so little actual mobility required to just walk. Maybe in the ankles and the foot a little more, especially on some steep inclines. But so what you should be doing, especially if you feel like you're at that stage where you need it, is just some gentle movements. And anyone can go to my YouTube channel. One of my favorite things, and probably almost everybody I've ever worked with, I've given some variation of this, just this 5-way hip drive. It's just you put your foot up on a bit of a step, and you kind of move through this motion that gets your spine going, gets your hips going, in and out. It's not stretching. I call it mobility, because you're really just moving. You're getting to those in ranges. You're moving the whole body and the whole system a little bit just to get it ready to move again. If you're really feeling the need, you might this will sound crazy, but before putting on your pack, go walk for 5 minutes. Just kind of give the system a chance to like wake up and be ready to go again. The body will take you way further than we let it most times, but this will help to prevent it from fighting you and being like, this is stupid, we shouldn't be doing this. So some sort of easy dynamic warm-up, and any dynamic warm-up, because all I'm asking you to do is get the body moving a little, but stretching is almost like sprinting. Like you're just hitting that end for no apparent reason, and it's the wrong prep to get you moving again. And you'll feel much better too if you just do some sort of really basic. You could do some nice light air squats with nothing, any kind of movement pattern.
I'll give a specific example, just because this is the start of the day a lot of the time for me in the middle of a hike. But let's say I'm getting out of my tent and it's start of the day and I haven't been hiking yet, or say I'm really in the trenches and this is at the end of lunch. We get what we call the baby deer legs. Yep. Which is like when you go to stand up, like you are wobbling, like you can't, like, you know, you're just learning how to walk as a baby deer. And we'll say like pedal it out, so like with my hands on the ground and my feet on the ground, I'll just like try to like pedal it out a bit before fully standing. Are there things, and like the first few steps are a wobble, but then it goes, are there things I can do in my tent in the morning before even the pedal it out or the trying to stand or the trying to walk when that feels like a baby giraffe learning how to walk? Is there anything I can do while I'm sitting to just like, I don't know, I'm thinking about punching my legs right now, but that's obviously not what you would do, but just to get them to be like, hey, you walk, right? Like, we're going to get up soon.
It's interesting you say that. You could do that. So have you watched, maybe this is the wrong crowd, or maybe you've seen it. Like, if you watch, especially combat athletes, though, like from wrestlers to UFC fighters to boxers, like, you will see us jumping around, hitting our legs, even hitting your head to just wake up. You could literally think that experience you're describing is like, we just need to wake the system up. So you could lay in bed and hit your legs a little. You could also do maybe what might feel a little more rational, contract and relax. So like squeeze your quads. So like hyperextend, like straighten it out and try to squeeze those muscles. Try to squeeze the glutes. Do some ankle mobility while you're laying there. Just like move them around, do the alphabet.
Move your big toe.
Just literally, like, these things this is the same thing, right? These things will just give the system a chance. And then I would stand up and do this literal, like, kind of combat shakeout concept of just, like, dancing around a little and shaking things out. Your system will wake up and kind of come to life far better. I mean, you're finding a battle, like it's tired, it doesn't want to do it, but you can get it to kind of wake up and kick in, which would be great if you do that before you like slam on your pack and say, I'm just going to get through the first hour of the day and then hope for the best. Like that's a losing battle, which I'm sure plenty of people do. Does that help? Yeah,
that does. I like that because I could do that from the inside of my sleeping
totally
bag.
Yeah. I would recommend doing so, and also breathing, like any kind of breathing techniques. I mean, the box breathing is kind of the most basic, like a 4 count in, a 4 count or 5 count. I don't think the specifics matter that much, but some sort of easy few minute breathing session will just help the kind of body come back alive and kind of come to itself, and you'd be more prepared to move and go forward from there.
I've got a follow-up on it, which is, again, talking about, let's say, the start of the day. I'm someone who does not like to wake up early. I will wake up right before I need to in order to have enough time to do the things I need to do to get started in time. Like, for example, if I have work in the morning, I'm going to wake up with just enough time, if I work at my desk, to brush my teeth, grab a water bottle, and sit down at the desk and turn on Zoom for the first meeting. Anything extra from that, like when I'm laying in bed and the alarm's going off, my brain is not going to accommodate. I'm just like, that's not necessary. It's not essential. I could get by without doing it. Let's say in the morning when I'm hiking, I need to get out of camp by like 7:30 if I'm going to have the day that I want. And that's challenging for me. And I'll factor in 15 minutes to pack up my stuff, roughly. And I'll eat breakfast as I walk, just because, again, you can combine those, a little extra sleep. But with what you're saying in terms of take a few minutes to do this or do some breathing exercises, is there a minimum amount of time that someone should wake up before they start the routine of packing up their stuff to be able to do these things to give them a good start to the day? Like, is it like no matter what, you have to give yourself an extra 10 minutes to sit there and get adjusted if you want to limit the risk of injury?
Yes. I don't think I could label it with a specific number. Like, there's not a clear research number I could say it's got to be 10 minutes. I can label it in saying that, like, you need to eat breakfast. You need to hydrate. This should be one of those priorities that, like, you need 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just not optional. It will change your whole experience. Like, I hear you. I can't relate. I was up at 4 this morning training because that's who I am. Like, I'm on the opposite end. But I work with tons of folks like that have that story. And so that struggle is real. I get that. But it's also like you have to give yourself that mental nervous system, the whole system, that chance to just settle in and wake up and calm before the storm. It will change your day. It'll be worth it. Other than, it sounds like maybe the need for a blaring alarm to get you to do it, which is a little shocking to the system. So no, I wouldn't give you an exact, but I would even tell you, even if it's 5, even if you commit it to 5 minutes, and try it now while you're at home. Like you said, you do the same thing at work. Give yourself 5 or 10 minutes and see if it doesn't change even your morning experience. Like, doesn't make the transition to life and work and hiking feel better.
So follow up, if I'm on trail hiking,
Yep.
Are you anti a walking breakfast?
Yes. I mean, I shouldn't say yeah. I think you'd be better served taking the time to eat, experience it, digest a little, and then go. Physiological, like, I don't have a reason why you can't walk and eat, though. I think if I would prefer you to take 10 minutes to just truly have that morning reset, and then if it's a walking breakfast, fine. Like, I think you're okay there. Yeah.
Okay.
Backtracking a bit, the zone 2 conversation. So a couple things here. One is just, I want to convey, somebody listening to this who is planning on a through hike in 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
I think a lot of them would work with the assumption is like, it's too early to train. There's no purpose in me training now because, like, if it's just for a finite period, I'm going to lose that fitness. What I'm hearing from you is the zone 2 base, the foundation. So if somebody is taking on a through hike in 2 to 3 years, they absolutely should be training now. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah. So a couple of approaches to this. One is just from a health perspective. Muscle strength and mass and aerobic capacity, 2 things that are going to make you healthy beyond anything else. So just from a pure, let's be a healthier human species, that even if it's just zone 2 and you never go beyond it, you're just building a base. But also maybe a good example that we can probably all picture in our minds is any marathon, no matter how far removed you are from marathoning, you're probably almost always going to see the Africans winning. The Africans who grew up running around barefoot, running 6 miles to school and back in that zone 2, just fit foundation building state. And then they can then train at such a different level and push that capacity when they want to for the next race or for whatever. And they're such a good example of this because we don't, especially in America, but I know this goes out worldwide, but all of modern society just doesn't live healthy, fit lives very well these days. And so that zone 2 is just the foundation to build on. And if you spend the next 2 years building a strength foundation and a zone 2 foundation just as a lifestyle choice, then you can ramp up and go do your through hike, and you'll be so well prepared, and you'll be able to take on the extra loads and challenges and volume needed to make sure you're prepared. But if you don't, I mean, it's just not a short-term build. Like, you can't even really build a zone 2 base in a couple months. Like, it'll change constantly and you can do your best, but 2 years, you'd be a different human if you did that.
Yeah. The other thing, this is something that I wrestle with a lot, and I'm curious to get your perspective on this, is that it's so much easier to maintain zone 2 in a controlled setting, like on an incline treadmill or on a bike. But from the mental health benefits, it's so much better to be outside.
So much better.
How do you look at that when you are trying to hone in your training? Like, is it better to be really hitting on that zone 2 level, or do you want the more holistic experience of training and being outside, getting that natural light, the fresh air, like the scientific mental health benefits of being outside, I think, are pretty clear at this point.
Agreed.
But like, if you're going on a hike and you want to do zone 2 training, like on the incline, you're probably closer to zone 3, and on the downhill, like it's going to be really hard to even be high zone 1. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think it's a big, super important concept. So I think if you're really prepping, if you're 6 or 8 weeks out and you're extremely focused on like launches in 6 weeks, got to be as fit and healthy as I can, I think you should obsessively stay in your zone. You should follow a more structured training plan than you probably want. And you're doing this so you can go experience the mental health benefits for the next however long your hike is, right? But having said that, like, I think maybe equally important to the physical health is the being outside, the mental health, the sunshine. And in my house, we have both aspects. So I like to be up early and out training, and I'm doing a lot of running training right now. So, and I live in Evergreen at 7,500 feet, and everything from my house is uphill, which means my morning run might include a lot of walking. And that's just what I do. So I just slow it down. Hard to do maybe on a hike if you're going straight up a mountain, but you just take breaks. Like if you're really obsessed with it, or right now I'm not training for a race, so I don't care. Like this morning I ran 6 miles. I kept most of it in zone 2, but I'm not. So the part I want to make sure also becomes clear is we are not fragile, breakable humans. We just do such a bad job globally that then little things do set us off. But I'm not concerned that if you looked at my Garmin this morning, there was at least 15 minutes probably in zone 4 and 5. Totally fine. Like I recovered. But if you're really in a structured training plan for a goal, then that's like I'll walk those sections. But this morning out with the dog, I love it in the morning. It's dark. I'm out there, me and the elk, the glowing eyes in the dark. So I think you have to decide what your priorities are. If it's just life training, if it's that guy training for 2 years out and just staying fit and healthy, then be a little sloppier with it, and it's okay, and your body will recover. Also take the time to recover. So if it ends up being, I wanted to go to the top, I wanted to get to the top of Bergen Peak, and it requires me to spend half my session in zone 4 and 5, then I probably need to respect what my body's doing, and the next day maybe I need to either go easy or even take a day off. Like I think one of the things we haven't valued in training is rest days and true recovery days, and our like the hustle culture and the grind, and as soon as we think about training we're like, I'm in, so I just need to go hard, but the body doesn't respond to that very well. So I think it's multifaceted. Like why I said my house, we have both sides. Like my wife would prefer to like follow the rules and stay in that training cycle, and she will run endlessly on the treadmill to do it, especially since we live up there. It's really hard to do zone 2 hiking or running training when you're starting up there. I'm the opposite. I need the outside. So for me, the value is I'm going to go outside. I'm going to decide if it's a day where I'm willing to let myself cheat, or if I'm going to walk and slow down. Yeah. So I think both are equally true.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a well thought out answer. And I asked previously about like a time commitment to zone 2, and you said like that was kind of just depends on where you are in your life. But I imagine there's probably more of a strict requirement, or at least minimum threshold for strength training. What would you? I know you mentioned twice per week, but like somebody who's not familiar with resistance training, what sort of programming are you building for them?
Yeah, so this is where, like, if you walk through the full program, I will start someone, even an experienced someone, this is like getting that nervous system calmed down with daily movement activities with like super light load to no load every day, like just on your own, 15 minutes. We do that just to get the system moving and prepped. And then it progresses to light load. And then ultimately, though, the kind of foundation minimum needed dose that for life, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is at least 2 days a week of really heavy loaded strength training. And that's really 45 minutes to an hour done properly. I think this is where a lot of the nuance of programming comes in. If you have like, one thing is you've got to have some equipment, honestly. Like you can hack your way with body weight and like all these influencers will show you different workouts. But the honest truth is like if you want to build a good, strong foundation, you need to be able to go pick up kettlebells, barbells, something, really load tissue. And it becomes like the full body needs about 2 days minimum to really build that strong foundation. I like to get people to 3 if we can, as long as it's not like the most important part is we'll do it consistently and we'll do it forever. So if 3 is not going to happen, then we figure out how to do 2. The limitation I find with 2 is it really feels like, especially like with the focus on hiking, we need 2 more lower body focused day. Like you can take up most of that hour doing mostly lower body stuff. Where I solve that is by doing things like kettlebell swings or deadlifts where we're getting tons of core and enough of upper body, but I don't like the upper body to just get forgotten. And so that's where the 3rd day comes in. Like I find if like you're not a gym rat, you don't love to train in the gym, but we need to figure out how to build this base, then we need 2 mostly lower body focused days with like maybe a little bit of upper. And this includes core and kind of all those training sessions. Very specific core, like stability kind of work, not sit-ups. And then 1 day where we can do more obsessive, like shoulder press, chest press, pulling, kind of really upper body. I know it's easy as a like backpacker to think, well, I don't probably need that as much, but your whole system needs to be strong. So I'd rather you not forget it. Like the only athletes, not the only, but like the primary athletes I see that can really ignore their upper body and get away with it are like cyclists. But it's such a different, like they're just not loading very much. Yeah. Even mountain bikers benefit from getting the upper body strength in there. But for hikers, for sure, there's just so much going on and carrying that load that the whole system really needs to understand how to activate and just have this base level of strength. Okay. Whoops.
You mentioned when I brought up the ankle weights, junk exercise, and you mentioned just now kettlebells, for example. Let's say someone doesn't have a gym membership or doesn't live near a gym or simply prefers to work out at home and they want to invest in some pieces for a home gym that's not like, I'm buying a shoulder press machine because I'm not going to do that. But in terms of, for example, the ankle weights being junk exercise, what are some staples that you would suggest a person should get that could be really beneficial to use if they were to just do things at home? And what would be some things like the ankle weights that maybe you would say that might look flashy on advertising and in your targeted ads, but that's not going to do shit?
Right. Great question. So I'd say probably 70% of my clients I work with in this day and age don't go to the gym. And I often try to convince them because I think it does help a lot of people to get a gym membership, but there's some really obvious foundational equipment. So I always start with kettlebells. They're the most dynamic and complete home gym setup. At a bare minimum, you can get 3 or 4 kettlebells and you can do, 75 to 90% of the programming you need. Where they fall short, and I do think they fall short, like I'm a huge kettlebell advocate. I've gone to all these top end trainings. I use them with every client. I use them personally, but really you could get super heavy ones. They make like a 200-pound kettlebell, but really to really load well and go strong, a barbell and plates are the next level. So I try to convince most clients who are really going to stay at home. I'm obsessed with let's get the performance done. So let's train so we can complete the Thru-Hike, but also let's think about being 70 and healthy and what that requires. The point being, the investment in a barbell and some plates is worth it. So we can start with a few $100s and you can get the kettlebells that will build a pretty good base. And especially if you haven't been training with weights, like you could get 4 to 6 months of pretty much everything you need. But more ideally, you add a barbell. And so then it depends on space. Like even in a space, like this isn't a huge room, but we could set up a little squat rack and a barbell and a couple kettlebells, and you could have a complete gym. Almost everything else, a pull-up bar, I guess, would be the other thing, but you can find a way to do pull-ups on a number of different things. Almost every other piece of equipment or band or thing you're seeing on Instagram is either junk or an extra that may or may not matter. But for those of us, like if you're not a gym rat and you don't really know what it is or why you would want it, it's probably a waste of your money and time. Like the foam roller, like everybody's got a foam roller in the closet because someone told them it would be. It's not accomplishing anything. So yes, kettlebells is the starting point. And I guess the only other thing I would comment there is if you buy, I have no affiliation with any of these companies, but something like Rep or Rogue kettlebells, they will literally last you forever. If you go to Walmart and buy the cheap ones, they will break at some point, and they might break when you're swinging them, and they're not that much cheaper. So go online and find a like legit kettlebell company that's making like these solid steel bells and get them, and then you'll be at a good starting point.
How do you think about strength training as it pertains to longevity? Like, are you recommending people are doing heavy squats as like 50, 60-year-olds? Like, is there elevated injury risk for like spinal compression and that sort of thing at a certain age or like stage in life?
Yeah. No. Elevated risk, it depends on who you are and what foundation you have. But I'm obsessed with getting all of my clients, athlete or non-athlete, strength training. So if we talk about longevity, we have to start with the fact that we know there's zero argument at this point. The research is so obsessively clear that there's two things. It's the VO2 max, which is kind of that aerobic base, which we build with zone 2 a lot. That's the safest way. And then some intensity. And then just strength and muscle mass. So if you're super skinny, then we need a little bit of training as far as like hypertrophy training. But most people just need that dense base strength. And I mean, like a loaded back squat is a perfect example of a movement. Now, how the body, we know this in science. We know if you load the spine in that way, as long as it's not causing an injury, like you're not injured, there's no pain, there's some parameters, but that the body responds by getting stronger, not by breaking down. So some reason our training or our thought with aging population is we'll just not do that. If we take that to the extreme, it's like, well, instead of training, we'll just sit on the couch and that will make us stronger because lifting or hiking or running is dangerous. But it's just not true. Like the only way the system grows is challenge and recovery. That does not change with age. Mm-hmm. I mean, it changes if there's disease, right? If there's some real severe osteoporosis or something, but most of us don't have any reason why we shouldn't be. These are core foundations. So squatting, deadlifting, kettlebell swings, some variation of a pull-up, some variation of a press. But the ones that scare people are the back squat and the deadlifts. Those are the ones that like I have to convince clients to do that are. I just finished working with a 68-year-old in San Francisco, just an average guy. He somehow found me online, called me up. He was convinced that I could do the right things for him, but we worked together through a 12-week cycle of just rehabbing his knee. It took a lot of convincing for him to be willing to say, like, I'll try the squats first with the kettlebells, then with a barbell on my back. My brother's been hurt. This person's been hurt. I had this happen. in the end, and we just finished, and his story was like, I feel stronger than I've felt in years. And he's not he's an average 68-year-old San Francisco. His real mission was the reason he decided he needed help is because the 3-mile walk to his coffee shop and back that he does every day was not he couldn't do it. And so we got him back to that, but we got him back to that and more. My pitch was you used to run marathons. Oh, wow. If we train properly and aren't scared of this, and maybe it's years, but you can run another marathon if you feel like it. There's no science or evidence saying you can't keep training. And there's, unfortunately, hikers especially are some of these folks that have time to listen to podcasts. I assume a lot of people, maybe you, have listened to the Huberman podcast. Yep. Extremely frustrating from my perspective, and many of us who aren't catering to, Stuart McGill's a kind of a legend in physical therapy, but he got on there with some other, well-known experts who just kind of pulled away from heavy weights and talked about injury risk. And there's just not science supporting how that conversation went. So that conversation's extremely frustrating and disappointing. And go do your own research if you don't want to trust me. Those guys are far more popular and famous, but I would say they got caught up in this bad conversation that really shared a lot of misinformation.
I think this is my last strength training question. And for anyone who's curious about the differences between strength training and hypertrophy training, we talk about that in the last podcast. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole here, but just a rough programming. Let's say somebody has a mild foundation. You talked about the equipment, having kettlebells, and then ideally a barbell with some plates, and maybe somebody could join a gym to get all that stuff. But let's say somebody is willing to dedicate the minimum 2 days per week. Just walk us through what a basic program, maybe 5 or 6 essential lifts that they should be doing. Totally. Rest between it, RPE, all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and I think, I'm fairly certain. So if some of these terms don't ring true, you can obviously Google these days pretty easy. But my YouTube channel, I've made some educational videos on concepts like RPE. But in my case with strength training, I like RIR, which is reps in reserve. So that's how I pick intensity. So the foundational lifts for me, so a typical, let's take, if we'd been working together, your, say, Monday strength program might look something like, let's say 3 sets of 5 reps. And that could be 3 to 5. There's this classic 5x5, which is good, but it depends on where we're at in the rest of the training. But say 3 sets of 5 reps of deadlifts. So this is discounting warm up. So you warm up 3 sets of 5 left, and I would have you at 1 to 2 reps in reserve. And this is the important part. And this is what even people that are training are really missing. So I know last time, go back and listen, we talked about low reps, but this obsession over learning what reps in reserve is. And that means if I have you doing 5 reps and I put 1 to 2 reps in reserve, you could do 7 as a 100% effort. You could not, theoretically, you could not do 8 reps with that weight. So that means you've got to push yourself kind of 85 to 90% threshold of effort. If you're not going there, you're not, if you're super beginner, we don't start there, but I will quickly get you there in any of my programs because we need you to push that hard to get the real stimulus to be effective. So it would be something like that. 3 sets of 5 reps for deadlift. Depending on your age, we might do back squats there too, but if you're kind of 40 plus, we might end up putting back squats at the end of the week, and one day you do deadlifts, one day you do back squats. If you're younger and kind of recovering well, we might put those 2 together. Lots of stimulus though. The other kind of primary, really big core movement we'd add for sure is a Bulgarian split squat. It's a pretty common lift. It's easy to see. I like the way I do it. I've changed it a little, that I've just lowered. If anyone knows what it is, you put your back foot up on a bench classically. I've lowered that back foot because I've found that people get too much posterior hip activation. So if you go, you can just look on my YouTube and see that video of how I call it a modified Bulgarian. But we're getting single leg control at that point. And same thing, kind of loading it. Those ones are harder to load heavy, so I will let people go 6 or 7 reps sometimes. But this is the hypertrophy versus strength. We want to stay kind of 5 or 6 or less reps. So you do somewhere in that 5 rep range each leg. And then...
Are we still doing 1 to 2 reps in reserve?
1 to 2 reps in reserve,
Okay.
yep. So all of my strength training, and if we just consider we've advanced to that level, all of it's going to be at that. That's bang for your buck. You need to hit that 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Okay. The only time we're going to change that is, and this was something that probably this program I would then have you probably do, say, a 10-minute EMOM of kettlebell swings. And kettlebells are weird and they're dynamic and they create some of these it's known in the industry as these what the heck effects, but there's just a lot of physiological adaptations that come, so you don't have to go quite as heavy. It's not where I could only swing that bell for 11 times, but you're doing, you do 10 reps, takes about 20 seconds, rest the rest of that minute, do 10 again. So again, you've built up to this, but now you're doing 100 reps in 10 minutes with about 40 seconds rest in between. With your other lifts, you asked about rest, and rest is vital. It's 2 minutes minimum, and it's 2 minutes of sitting there and doing nothing. Play on your phone if you must, though there's good research that says if you put that away, you'll get even more adaptation.
Yeah, and we talk about the central nervous system, reading about World War III between sets is probably not the best thing.
I'm going to de-stress you.
But what's also not helpful, which a lot of us want to do, is doing a set of sit-ups or doing supersetting. Like, that's not what we're doing here. We're resting. And it can be 5 or 10 minutes. That's the interesting thing. Big breaks don't matter. It's got to be at least 2 minutes. So, we say we do deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats. We'll do some hard style planks, kettlebell swings. And then depending if you have that third day, but if you have just 2 days, we'll probably do like some sort of pull-ups if we can do pull-ups, or assisted pull-ups, or if we've got to do bent over rows or something like that to get that pulling motion in, and some push-ups. So what the challenge there is, like, that again, you can already hear, like, if that's 1 day, keeping that in an hour becomes challenging, and we've got to deprioritize probably the pushing and the pulling. So we might do something a little different there. If we have a day where we can do a similar kind of routine of really strength building, like on a Wednesday, then we'll do that on those. The other key lift that's really valuable, so 2 things that may be unfamiliar, but a hard style plank is not a plank that we hold as long as we can. It's a plank that we go and we create as much maximal, like, muscular and nervous system tension as we can for about 20 seconds. Teaches the body to engage. Like, it's really good prep for deadlifts, but it's also really good prep for teaching the body how to be strong and keep you going on those long miles.
Are you saying heart style or hard style?
Hard style.
Hard.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the heavy farmer's carries would be those are the 2 like primary core exercises. And farmer's carries is another challenging one, because what we typically see programmed when someone is doing farmer's carries is they pick up some sort of dumbbell or kettlebell and they go for 2 minutes or 100 yards or something that's too long to create that adaptation I would like to see. So I usually try to get someone at like 20 or 30 seconds with the heaviest they can, to where they almost feel like they have to drop them, 2 minute rest, and then the same.
Yeah.
The good and the bad of these routines is once you've adapted a little, this won't get you sore. So you can double up. You can do endurance training the same. Like, you can go for a hike. But you do have to respect the slam to the central nervous system and understand where your body's at. So at some point in training, we'll want to stack a day like that with a hard day the next day, but not early on, because your body's in such recovery mode. Those are probably the key. Like, some of the other things that hikers can really benefit from, especially if they've had some injuries, but really anyone, is like squats, front squats specifically with heels elevated. If you've never tried those, if you just even do it at home, like put something under your heels and squat, you'll instantly find the quads get isolated. And what you're doing is you're just downhill hiking at that point. So forcing those quads to take that load and teaching them to do it heavy. And then the other piece of that becomes controlling the eccentric, which is the lowering part.
Yeah.
So you could tempo heel elevated front squats. And again, it becomes this like art of like, how much can we do? What's our priority? Where have you been injured before? But it's another one of those really key lifts for hikers, because we just see so many injuries from the descent, like quads get hammered, or this knee pain that's non-specific, or everything starts to collapse. But if you can really build those quads in an isolated manner, you can prevent a lot of that.
Do you prefer a barbell for that one, or like goblet squat style?
I prefer a barbell if you can figure out like it's hard to do, but the only reason I prefer a barbell is because goblet style, the limiting factor often becomes holding the weight.
Yeah.
Like the arms are too weak, the upper body's too weak. So the stimulus is the same, except you can't load as much. Like if you just picture like almost any beginner could front squat, say 95 pounds, like a barbell and some 25s. Most people have a hard time holding a 95-pound kettlebell, or even two. You could grab two, 53s or something. That's effective, but it's just like and it's really like, it's not bad that it's getting your upper body, but you're limiting the amount of load you're getting to the quads.
Yeah.
So if we're doing that, especially on a heel elevated movement pattern, and we're obsessed with getting quad adaptation, you're better off if you can do a barbell, because you'll just get way more load.
Interesting.
That's kind of crazy, because we've talked about how like it'd be great if the stair climbers went the other way to practice downhills, or like going backwards, or like any of those hacks that people try to do where it's like, well, you're still going up, you're just going up but backwards, to just put something under your heels while doing that seems almost too
like
easy.
Like a magic trick.
Yeah, like how have we gotten 352 episodes in and someone hasn't thought of that?
Glad I can bring something new to the table. No, I mean, it's instant gratification. I use in the clinic, and I get a lot of clients to order these. They on Amazon for $20. You can get wedges, which are nicer than like rolling a towel or standing on a plate or something, and they just really put you in that position. And they are nice too, because the other thing that I think everyone can benefit from, but I really push, especially like hikers and runners, is training barefoot as often as possible, because you also need, and it sounds like you had a foot expert on, but you need that foot adaptation. And our shoes are always protecting and limiting that foot adaptation. So the wedges are nice because you can stand on them barefoot really easily and well. And then there's 100 options if you just put lifting wedge in there. Like I said, $20. They're worth getting no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Are you training barefoot?
I train barefoot pretty often. It's interesting. So we've been in Evergreen now. As you know, we were here in Golden, but we moved up there almost 3 years ago maybe. And I haven't been a member of a gym. So it's been garage gym. And now I open the local studio. So I have my own training spaces. So yeah, I most
you
often barefoot. I could trade naked if I want to. But it's on that, like, barefoot is optimal. And if it's not barefoot, that is another thing worth being obsessed about, is a flat, wide shoe, not a running shoe, not a trail shoe, preferably, just because the traction and stuff is a little messy. That's better than a lot of shoes, but like ultras are brilliant. But or everybody makes because of CrossFit, thankfully, everybody makes a pretty good training shoe.
Yeah.
You should not be just training in any old shoe, or the old Converse, which are totally in style now. It's a great training shoe.
That's an important point to bring up too, is to not train in your trail shoes for the reasons that you mentioned, but also you're destroying the tread 100%. And the midsole on that. Like, you're wasting really precious resources putting heavy weight on, and then.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fun, as a side note, my parents have an outdoor store 60 miles in, so 60 miles from the south border of the CDT, and everybody shows up to get all their gear replaced.
Yeah, sure.
60 miles in. It's like, well, you probably made some mistakes on how you started.
Yeah.
not the point of this episode, but it's fascinating to me to see like what people have done and not thought through in that sense, which is worth thinking through.
In terms of, let's say I was going to buy 2 pairs of shoes, and one was to start the trail in and one was to train in, and they were the same type of shoes, would that not be good? Because then my feet are getting used to what is going to be encasing them while they're actually out on the trail itself.
Sorry, you're gonna have to say that.
Well, because you're saying like certain a trail runner's not as great, like certain types of shoes aren't as great. But if I'm going to be in a trail runner on the trail, and I know like this is the exact type of shoe I'm going to wear on the trail, tread issue aside, I could start with a brand new pair from the pair I'm training in. Would it not be beneficial to train in that shoe so that while I'm doing these exercises and these lifts and these things, my feet are getting used to the thing that's going to hold them in place for the rest of this trip?
My priority is that you are building like a bulletproof, durable system. And so the most like, that's why I say the barefoot, like the most activation you can get out of the foot and the least shoe crutch you can use, the better off you'll be. So as far as like in the weight room in the strength training sessions, like, yes, you could use the non-grippy version or whatever and get your foot to adapt. But I don't really want your foot to adapt to that shoe so much as I want it to just be strong and durable and resilient. As far as like actual like adaptation to being like, I also don't want you to go buy a brand new pair of shoes and start your hike. So I would recommend people break their shoes in a little, though these days they're so different than they were even 5 or 10 years ago. Like, I don't know that breaking in is that big of a deal, but don't go buy a new shoe and go hiking it without some adaptation. Don't wear it out. But as far as like the strength training and the barefoot work, no, it's more important to get the tissues resilient, and they'll just adapt better. The shoe won't matter as much unless you get some really odd, like over supportive shoe, or there's a lot of random shoes out there though. It feels like, I mean, I don't know, you guys tell me, but Ultra is still one of the kind of kings out there. They're great. They've just done such a good job of like basic functional shoes that work well and let your foot do its job. Like
and Topo Athletic.
Yeah, Topo as well. We're huge fans of both of those brands in my house. And there's some other competitors trying to come in. I don't have any loyalty to any of them, but those are good quality. If I recommend shoes, it's probably those in general.
Okay, we're an hour and a half into this, and we haven't even talked about injuries at all. So,
I saw the time a second ago, and I was like, no. Because it feels like we just started the episode.
I know. I love these conversations. So we might not be able to go into the depth that it probably deserves. So maybe we'll do a round 3 here before long. But obviously we should talk about some of this stuff. I know we were chatting a little bit before we hit record here that you have been working with Thru-Hikers the last few years. So you've been exposed to like what some of the most common injuries are. So before I ask you Thru-Hiker related injury questions, I would just be curious to tap into your clinical experience. Like, what are the most common injuries?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in some ways it's the most common injuries I see just in humans. But it's definitely the hip, knee, IT band syndrome. I say that in quotes just because, like, that's the call I get. Like, I've got IT band syndrome. My last PT couldn't fix it. They don't get what I'm doing. Like, okay. But that's the most common. I'd say next was probably low back type stuff. Low back SI area. And then it's definitely becomes foot and ankle kind of as a combo, whether like I rolled my ankle and haven't fully recovered and it keeps swelling or bothering me, or this terrible plantar fascia concept, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Those are definitely the most common that I see.
Yeah. Let's start. I was getting some sort of feedback. I think. Not sure what's
we lost some.
Start with that. I'm curious about you put IT band syndrome in quotes there, so I'm sensing that's not a real syndrome.
Well, it is. Like, it's an official medical diagnosis, I guess, so fair enough. Someone just beat me into that. Just walked over. The challenge with IT band syndrome is usually when someone's coming to me with IT band syndrome, they are stretching their IT band and rolling it. And from 12 years as a doctor of physical therapy, 20 plus years as a trainer, and all the research, you cannot stretch your IT band. It won't stretch. Like, we've hung weights from an IT band in a cadaver lab, but still, like, it's not stretching. So the actual band running down the outside of your hip is not, again, this is the stretching concept. We've just like prioritized the wrong thing. And
so when someone feels tightness in their IT band,
yeah,
what are they experiencing?
Well, that's it. So they're experiencing probably, like, the most likely is there's hip weakness or lack of control. So the most common cause of that IT band experience is the hip's not controlling the leg. The knee caves in over time, most often on these descents. So this is why, like, my elevated squats are not an afterthought, but I start with the hip hinge and the strength and the power from the deadlifts and the swings, because I think that control is more important. And that control actually probably, if you had that, you'd get less of the quad issues. But you're doing so much eccentric loading going downhill, it's worth overloading those quads a bit in training as well. But so that movement a million times over, like your out of alignment car wheel that just wobbles and wobbles and wobbles till the bearings go, creates that sensation of tightness. And what the body, so this is the nervous system again, like its response to threat is protection. So something's wrong here. This doesn't feel right. I'm getting beat up. Tighten things up. So it locks down. So now stretching, it's just going to make it lock down more. So even if you're trying to stretch your hip, the nervous system's pissed because, like, this hurts. And so you get this sensation of tightness. And you're tight. You're not moving as well because the nervous system's protecting. And then usually those symptoms, oftentimes they're in the hip. Usually we experience them down in kind of that lateral knee area. I think that's actually, like, the hiker, I have a Thru-Hiker on my program right now that we've been working together a while, and I'm pretty sure that's how we started with that. And I mean, the amazing thing is the solution. So all of these diagnoses sound different, but the solution starts to become very similar. Like, we always have to meet the person where they're at and find out why did this happen? Are you overweight? Are you weak? Are you doing whatever? Are you not recovering? But then it becomes like reset the nervous system, retrain healthy movement so that the body's okay with healthy movement, and then reinforce that and start to load it. So
I guess for that specific issue, it sounds like IT band tightness, lateral knee pain. Like, can you give me some specifics on what that program would look like?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like what we just discussed oftentimes. What I will try to do is that hip drive concept that we mentioned earlier, which is essentially just a hip extension mobility drill. So any kind of, like, active hip extension, and it doesn't have to be the hip drive. It just works well and it's dynamic. What we try to do is get your body to do that while staying in alignment. So not collapsing in or out, not rotating in or out, which we'll commonly see, like, people who have this issue. They'll try to go into hip extension and their foot just turns out. They're just so tight or so locked up in some sense that that's their solution to, like, but then your hip's not actually extending, which you need the hip to extend. So we start with getting that movement going, and then we find things that are tolerated. And this is the magic of, like, rehab. Like, it's not what you see online, especially these days. It's such a mess. Like, it's, well, if I stand on the Bosu ball and, like, spin plates over my head, maybe my knee will feel better. But it's not that. It then becomes deadlifts and split squats and farmer's carries. But we might have to adapt how you're doing them or the load tolerance, because what we want to do is calm the system first. So that means if it's really flared up, we start with just body weight, and then we only go halfway through the movement. Maybe you can just squat to a chair and you can't squat all the way down, or it just lights up. And we try to keep those subjective symptoms kind of under this 6 out of 10 range while challenging and progressing you. But we also, like, as often as I've got someone in that space, I've got someone who's so frustrated, especially IT's classic, because they tried hard. Maybe they saw a PT, maybe they didn't. Maybe they went to their doctor and got some random injection. Who knows? But now it's 6 months or a year later, and it's still there. And every time, like, they throw the pack on and try to go, it's just back. And so that person is fearful of movement and being progressed. And so oftentimes it's controlled movement, which we can do in the gym far better than out on the trail with a pack. So throwing the pack on and just going for an hour and fighting through it might not be the right solution. But squatting and deadlifting and getting some pain that we then recover from and keep pushing through might be the training adaptation we need for the body to start to recover from this. Because especially if it's chronic, and usually with IT band, I don't see anyone that says, I started to get these symptoms last week. Like, that's just, they should, because maybe we could solve it quicker. But it's almost always like 1 to 6 months is a nice time frame. It could be multiple years. And it, just as a side note, it's one of those things that oftentimes won't go away without, like, solving it properly. So figure it out, get help, do something, because it's one of those classic chronic conditions that just derails people's lifestyle. But it does become, it becomes this kind of nuanced system of figuring out how much to load, how much to push through and overcome that threat. And we don't have a torn muscle. We don't have anything broken. So you just think about that. Like, that is the dogs in the yard barking at the wind. Like, yes, there's some biomechanics, but technically your body, your knee can cave in a little. That's okay. But the nervous system decided it's not okay. So we solve it by strengthening and training better movement and kind of progressively pushing you through it. But also there's this mind game of, like, you're not broken. We can push through some of these. So it's this dynamic balance of figuring out how to progress through that.
How much are you relying on dry needling still?
Yeah, well, that's been the fun thing. And I think that's one of the, like, especially the last 5 years since I was on here, is kind of a perfect window of, like, where my practice skills have advanced, which is exciting to me because I've got a background in sports, but also, like, I was training people, like I said, for 20 plus years. So then I become a clinician and I get some of these other skills, and they're cool, and I can diagnose and understand injuries and that side of things now. But I still use dry needling for those local. But the point is, I've spent most of the last few years building a full digital practice where the secret is, and we've, what you just said, over an hour and a half in, and we're just bringing this up now because it's movement, it's how to prescribe the load, it's progressions, it's dosing, it's building that durability through all those systems. So if you're local and anywhere in Colorado, or you want to fly in, I mean, I've got clients who fly in to see me, I will needle because it'll speed up the ability to reset. Like, if your knee hurts today, I can put you on the table, I can needle you, your knee will feel better. So in the studio, I needle, but over the last few years, I haven't even had an in-person practice. I've had a fully telehealth digital practice, and everybody's still getting better. It requires more education. It requires better movement, but it is the solution. And I hopefully have always preached that in the office, but now more so than ever, like, I'll use needling as a tool because it's like a magic trick for anyone that's had it. I would encourage you, if you're really dealing with something and you're not local, like, it's worth seeking out a good dry needler who works with athletes. But it's not the solution. So it's movement, it's loading, it's dose, it's programming. That's what's going to get you healthy long-term and really solve the problem.
I have a selfish question.
Yes,
I don't know if any of our listeners can resonate with this one, but I've had knee surgeries on both knees, both ACL full reconstructions.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Both, I'm missing some meniscus in both. I think like a significant portion, probably like 50-ish% or more. But specifically on the first ACL injury, this happened 14 years ago now, somewhere in that range, probably longer than that. Running hurts after a period of time. I've just assumed that that's just my new normal with missing the cartilage there. I have been doing more low impact activities like the incline treadmill as opposed to running. It's lower impact, a little bit more time on the bike. Is there like a PT program that I could do or that someone with missing meniscus could do to help combat the pain, or is that just a reality of missing cartilage?
Yeah, that is the best question. No, it's not the reality at all. It is all about tolerance and adaptation and ramping and staying consistent.
Okay.
So the easy answer is 100%. Like, we could get you to run a marathon in the next 6 months if you were willing to accept that it was possible. So one of the limiting factors when you have that experience, and thanks Lindsey Vaughn for like just lighting some of this concept up in front of us over the last month. One of the factors is like, well, I'm missing cartilage. Mm-hmm. I've got these injuries. I've got this past. The doctor probably told you running was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And he probably believed it back then. He may still believe it, but like we know better now. And then you start to run and it hurts and you're like, yeah, I'm just not going to run.
Yeah.
If you don't want to run, running, you don't have to be a runner. I think running is really good for you and that adaptations are actually really healthy. But there's no doubt, like with strength, I mean, we haven't trained together. I haven't seen you in the gym in a while, but like, I'm guessing you still maintain a decent amount of strength. Like if you leaned into strength training and then a slow, steady ramp of running, I would say you would have healthier knees 5 years from now, adding some running and some of that load, because like we said earlier, that will actually build, it's not going to regrow your cartilage, but it will build tolerance. It'll build nervous system adaptation. It'll build the tissues around it, and the system will stay better longer. The other thing is if that's like really an issue, then you're going to have OA long-term, and you're going to have a surgeon tell you need actual knee replacements.
Yeah.
Like we would like to avoid that, either as long as possible or forever. And what we know is that image isn't actually helpful. So I've seen lots of people, what most common, they come in not at your stage, but 5 years from now, and even the hiking's becoming a problem. They're like, they just did an x-ray, I'm bone on bone, the cartilage is gone, it all makes sense, it all adds up. And it does add up if you trust American healthcare in our system, like go for it. So stick with that. You're going to have OA, get a few injections, and then we'll replace your knee. Or we build a program and a lifestyle, make the choices that get you past that to where you don't have to worry about it. And that it comes with consistency though, right? Like, does running matter enough that like you'll consistently run? If you have knees like that, like you probably have to have a really consistent strength program that makes sure like it's dialed in. And you probably can't just start running every spring. Like you need to have some sort of that base zone 2 mileage concept in your running, or you have to start really slow again with a walk jog program and like really build up so that tissue can adapt, because you're going to be more sensitive than someone who doesn't have that issue.
Yeah.
But no reason why you can't go back to running if you want to.
So would I be considering I do get acute pain on longer runs? Like I can do 3 to 4 miles and it's not too bad, but like once I go beyond that, it starts to become more painful. Am I better off doing like a targeted PT set of exercises or more just general strength training?
Yeah. I mean, so if you did an assessment with me with this conversation, we would set you up. It wouldn't probably, from what you're describing, like if you can run a few miles, you're doing your hiking, it would be really a progressive strength training and a progressive running program until we ran into some obvious problems. But I don't hear you saying I can run 3 miles. So I did 3 miles twice a week for a month, and then I did 3.5 miles, and then I added another day, and then I did some hill work, and like over 6 months I tried to progress to 5 miles, and every time I went over 3 I got a sharp acute pain. If you tell me that, then we need like really more monitored physical therapy specific. But really what you're telling me is like, one, you haven't put in the full effort, you haven't even tried maybe, and 2, like you need a really smart program you'll follow. That may mean you need to go pay someone to do it for you versus you doing it yourself and cheating. And I feel good, maybe I'll run all the way around North Table tomorrow. Like that becomes the mistake when people do it on their own oftentimes. Like, not that it's rocket science, but that you don't follow the program and don't have someone telling you, you feel great today at 5 miles, that means tomorrow you just take the day off. But yeah. So
Okay.
I have an on-trail question.
Yes.
Pivot. Whenever I'm on a longer hike where, AT, PCT, lots of sections of hiking split up by, a town day where, maybe you're getting your chores done, maybe you're taking a 0 day in addition, or maybe it's a half day. A common thing people say on trail is every day off in town takes 2 days back on trail to get back in the groove. Are there things that people should prioritize on a town day to mitigate how long it takes to feel like you're back in the groove again? Like, should I be trying to sleep more and take more naps on that day off? Should I be trying to beeline it to a restaurant to get a fat steak to get more of that protein? Should I be prioritizing getting some ice and having an ice bath in the motel? What kinds of things can people do on this town day that will limit basically how much pain they get in as soon as they get back on trail?
Yeah, super clear but not convenient answer. And we see this, the most obvious picture of this from the most advanced like science training folks is the Tour de France cyclists. So they go for 21 days with 2 rest days. And on those rest days, they ride their bikes for 4 to 6 hours because they cannot race the next day if they don't.
But that goes against the rest on the rest days.
Yeah, right. So there's a problem there. But the problem is once you're on trail, you're committed to this goal. And to get to that goal, so the other pieces are super relevant. Hydrate, electrolytes, protein. We haven't delved into that at all, but I'll just throw out there, like, you're not going to get this on trail, but like life goal for all my clients is to try to get 1 gram per pound. Like that's just a target, like super clear, super hard to reach, but shooting for that. So if you're in town, like, yes, go get a steak. And with hiking and you've been losing calories, like fat, protein, load up as much as you can and sleep as much as you can. And go walk unloaded, I would say for 60 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how you're feeling. So and then rest the rest of it. But if your body stops with that much stress and then your body stops moving completely, you're going to have the experience you just described. We just can't stop and restart that well with that much volume.
Okay, this is actually insightful because let's say I get to town. I hike in, I get to town around noon. I'm going to spend the night, I'm going to hike out the next day. Yep. Part of what sucks about that is that when I get to town, I've got to do chores. Like I'm getting to the hostel or wherever I'm staying, but then I've got to walk to the grocery store and I've got to do my resupply, maybe walk to the post office, maybe walk to the laundromat, depending on how things are set up. And so when I'm on trail, that almost feels like I'm cheating myself of the recovery time. Right. And it's like, okay, if I've only got this half day and I've got all this shit to do, I'm going to take a 0 day tomorrow. And I'll spend 2 nights at the hostel and then I'll hike out the next morning. That way I can get all my shit done today and tomorrow I can just rest. Seems like those chores might actually fit that 60 minutes of movement that you're talking about, where maybe it's that is actually really good and the extra 0 day is actually really bad, even if mentally it's helpful.
Yeah, I think 2 things are true. Like, I think if you're not going to take the 0, those chores should count. So don't try to add another 60 minutes for sure, because you're moving so much already if it's just half a day. I would venture, and I haven't like coached enough through hike, like all my through hikers disappear when they go hike, and maybe I hear from them whether they're successful or not, but I'm not like engaging on trail, or I haven't. That would be a fun experience maybe to do. I would venture taking those zeros is going to pay off long term, both mentally and physically. But that then on a full 0 day, putting that 60 minutes in of a casual moving walk would pay off to your restart. If it's just the half day and the chores, then your obsession needs to be nutrition, like just overload and sleep, and you're going to move a little slow the next morning, and that's just reality. Unless, if you're racing, like I feel like Zach tried to race through some of these in the past, right? Like then you probably want to warm up before you kick off again or something. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think zeros probably are as valuable as anything out there. Just like the Tour de France, like they do that not because anyone likes them missing those days, but because they know guys will perform better for the whole race if they schedule those in. So the Tour, who's all about making money, says, well, if we give them 2 rest days, then the guys know, like, can't really, like, just Netflix and chill all day. That doesn't work. So I think it would be the same. I mean, I think you could even, find the town you like and stack a couple zeros, and you probably would finish quicker long term if you stack a couple of, like, really recovery pieces in there. But they can't be just sitting there. You're just going to feel like you just not going to feel good going from long hike days to just sitting.
If you were to stack 0 days in that manner, how often would you suggest doing that?
I think it would be highly like personal, but I don't know if I could even like every couple of weeks for sure. I think you'd have to experiment with it. Like I would venture like most through hikers would find more success and faster finish times though by adding more rest days.
Interesting. One more question from me, and this goes into structuring the day on trail. And this could all be just whatever's best mentally, whatever gets you mentally through the day. For me, I freaking hate the climbs. Like I am not an uphill girl. So if I have a big climb when I'm looking at the elevation for, like, let's say I'm in town, I'm looking at the next 100 miles before I get to the next town, and I'm structuring my days, I would love if I can fit it so that where I'm sleeping puts me at the base, or maybe like a little partway up a climb if there's a big one and there's a good campsite, but at least at the base of a climb so that when I wake up I can get it done in the morning and I'm not dreading it all day. It's a mental thing. But is there a best time of day to try to position the more challenging parts of the day? Like, let's say it's a relatively flat day and there's 1 or 2 big climbs. Is there any benefit to positioning those big climbs at the start of the day versus the middle of the day versus the end of the day?
I would say that's probably personal. I can tell you, I mean, it's a little hard because if you're going all day, this doesn't ring 100% true, but physiologically, like, we know you're stronger and more like your system responds better in kind of that early afternoon stage. Like, especially, I mean, it's always been good training advice to like lift heavy in that early afternoon window. So that would be similar to that climbing the mountain. Having said that, if you put me out there, I'm going to do the same thing you're doing because I like to train at 4 a.m. and I will deadlift heavy at 4 a.m. as well. Insane. Because I think though the real thing is it's so much psychology. Like the mental aspect of all of this is far more important than the physical at some point, right? Like you need to just be engaged in the experience. You need to enjoy the experience. So I'd say your point of like it's personal and psychologically what makes the most sense is important. The only thing I would add to that, and I think this specifically comes into play with big hard climbs, is like in Ironman we use this terminology of like you only have so many matches to burn. So like Ironman's hard because you got these multiple sports, and the bike becomes this really challenging stage of how hard can I push when I still have to finish and run a marathon? And you're on a 4 to 6 hour bike ride, depending on how fast you are. And the concept being like, if you start going above that zone where you're starting burning out matches, then you're going to really be fatigued later. And if you keep it just and that changes for everybody. So you've got to experiment with this and kind of find those zones for you. Like you could use heart rate zones or RPE, but the point being like the risk I think with starting early on a hard climb is going too hard, and then you've burned through some of those matches and you've still got a long day ahead of you, and you might mentally feel better, but you are wearing the system out more than you needed to. So starting early, I would say make sure you pace yourself, I guess is the point.
That's really interesting, because I guess if I could put it into a way that my brain can kind of remove a lot of the stuff that doesn't make sense, and I could boil it down to things like matches and say, okay, I've got 8 that I'm going to grant myself in a day, and based on what's hard for me, maybe I say a climb that's more than a mile is 3 matches, a downhill that's more than a mile is 2, a flat is 1, and then kind of play with it in that abstract way. Makes it a lot less, I need to know the nitty gritty and the zones and all this stuff, and I can boil it down to here's how many I have, here's the difficulty scale, and that's how I can allot it. That's a good way to think of it. And
I think that's completely reasonable. I think like you share that commonality with many people on the trail. Like you get to the runners and the triathletes, and these people are like super data nerds, but then like my experience with clients is a good portion of my hikers aren't, and most like we're out there to enjoy it and like mentally just let go of all that crap. So but you can learn from the data nerds because they've got the answers, and then paint a picture like that makes sense, because I don't want you out there with like a chart stressing over it. That doesn't help any of the experience, but the concepts still remain true. So
I've noticed all my engineer friends tend to gravitate towards cycling. They do like their TSS scores
100%,
and everything.
Yeah,
it gets very analytical.
Yep.
Gosh, there's so many directions. Just because we touched on it a little bit, I want to give it some depth, is the nutrition component. And I know obviously your expertise is elsewhere, but this is an important component to the recovery. You mentioned a gram of protein per pound of body weight is a good goal to strive to. Can you talk through just conceptually and how you think of eating in terms of how to reach that goal? Like, is a piece of protein what percentage of your plate? And or maybe are you doing 5 meals a day or 3 meals a day? Are you intermittent fasting? Like, what approach works for you? And then I guess because you work with so many people, are there approaches that you find that are adopted more easily?
Yeah. There's after we just got off the data train, you can't, like, if you're at home, you have got to download an app and track for a month. Like, there's just nothing else that works. Like, after all these years of doing this, there's just no way. You're just not accurate. You're just making it up. And you're lying to yourself even. Like, it's just so crazy the numbers you'll see when you track for a month. So my really biggest takeaway is, whether it's MyFitnessPal or Google your favorite macro tracking app, and put it in there. And unless you have a weight loss goal or something, then there's something more than just this. But like, my only obsession, if you do any of my programs with me, I will tell you to make that a primary goal to get that gram per pound. Now, the research is clear, like somewhere 0.7 to 1 is like sufficient, but we're talking about people that are prepping to go hike for days on end, months on end. Like, you want to stack muscle and strength and resiliency as much as you can, and there's no negatives except for the effort it takes. So step one, you've just got to track. Now, I am the first one to say I'm not tracking long term, and that's totally valid. But you download a free app or buy one for $20 for a month. You buy a $10 Amazon scale, you weigh your food, you track it, and you figure out kind of a baseline of what foods actually are and look like. And then from there, you try to create habits that make sense for you. The only thing that you mentioned was the intermittent fasting. Like, that was such a huge trend. It's kind of faded a little. And the research is super super clear on this. Like, there's no advantages to that. If you like it and you feel good and it helps you keep the right calories and you're still getting your training sessions, fine. The one negative that comes up fairly often is like, if you intermittent fast in the morning, but you like to train in the morning, there's some issue oftentimes that you just underfueled for your training session. So if you like that formula, pay attention. Or if you're just doing it to make sure your calories are partitioned, then make sure you get some sort of pre-workout snack or something. But beyond that, like, I'm not even that obsessed. I think with hiking specifically, like, it becomes very old school. Like, what you need is high protein, low fat, and the rest are carbs, because you can't afford to have a bunch of fat because you need the carbs still. So I wouldn't there was this huge trend for a while of the keto, and I tried it and everybody tried it, and some people fat adapted really well, and it's a nice concept, but I think for 99% of us, like, it's not the real concept. The real concept is like, let's load as many carbs as we can in and as much protein as we can in. And then if you need to watch calories, like many of us do, then you need to cut the fat way down. So.
When I'm on trail, I would guess most of my protein probably comes in the evening from my hot meal of the day.
Yeah.
I am not a protein bar person. They're too dense. And is there anything, like, if you need fish oil, you could take fish oil pills. If you need magnesium, you could take magnesium pills. Is there any sort of protein pill that I can just stuff in my mouth in the morning and not have to eat a protein bar?
Of course you would bring that question up.
Why, is this sensitive?
No, it was actually just talking with someone about this today. So there's these things out there you can Google, perfect aminos. The research is mixed, and I'm not convinced. Like, there's some big shot influencers pushing them, and aminos are proteins, and in theory you can take the pill and you get perfect aminos, and they're pushing them because then you get no calories and all your protein. I would say maybe there, probably not, but maybe. But realistically, you might not like the taste of this, but your most obvious solution is protein powder. I mean, it really is, and it's worth, like, shaking it in a bottle and slamming it down and getting the protein in. Which I think is you're probably saying what's true for most people out on the trail, and that warm meal at night probably has 20, really good would be 30 or 40 grams of protein. I don't know what you weigh, but a lot more than that. You're just undernourished, and you're going to be undernourished, right? For the whole, like, we can just admit, you're going to not get all the sleep you need. You're going to be undernourished. You're not going to be fully recovering out on trail. So
it's like he knows me.
Yeah, well, everybody, but there is a solution, and you can carry a lot of protein powder with very little load, and it will help you recover and keep muscle on for the duration. I mean, I had a couple friends that did CDT last year, and they were just so, like, wasted by the time they got here, and they were going south, and, like, I don't even know if you're going to, like, make it down to see my parents in Silver City, because they made it. Good for them. But, like, that's not ideal. Like, and you preventing that as much as possible is well worth, like, gagging on some protein powder.
Let's say in theory that sounds great, but maybe some people know themselves better than assuming that they would do that. Is there a benefit if a hypothetical person is a one hot meal a day person? Is there a benefit in, even if it's, like, in theory strange, putting that hot meal in the morning instead of the evening? Like, if it's, like, I mean, you don't want to have, beefy mac and cheese for breakfast. It doesn't really make the most sense.
Tell my kids
but
that.
Is it more beneficial if you just know that you're not going to be a protein powder person? Is it better to switch the order and do it at the start of the day versus the end of the day?
Only if you feel better. So nutrient timing is, I would venture you probably will feel better for the day if you do that. So I guess there's some benefit, but there is only benefit if it makes you feel better. Like, just literally. Like, all that really matters is throughout that day that you're getting, like, shooting for this volume of protein and other nutrients, carbs. But nutrient timing specifically has been largely debunked. So it's not really meaningful. Like, some people, like, because I like to train so early in the morning, I do most of my training fasted, not because it's like a weight loss trick, just because, like, I don't want to eat and then wait, and then so I just do it and I'm fine. Like, that works for me. It might not work for you, but, like, so I would guess most people going out for a long day hike, starting the morning with a higher protein hot meal would benefit just in how they feel throughout the day. But as far as, like, maintaining muscle and not wasting away and kind of getting as much recovery as possible, it doesn't really matter.
It's not a waste having it at night before bed.
No.
I do want to give a shout out, and I pay full price for this, no affiliation whatsoever, but I don't do well with whey protein. It makes me break out and very farty, so I've started consuming more plant-based protein. I've tried a lot of them. This is the one I like the best. It is expensive. It's called Legion Plant Plus Protein. If you want to give it a shot, I specifically like the salted caramel. Nice. But yeah, a bag of 20 servings is $50, so it's expensive. You're getting what you pay for.
I would piggyback on that. Like, just in general, with protein, you will get what you pay for.
Yeah,
it's worth, like, I mean, I've been drinking protein shakes since I was like 12 or something. So, yeah. But if you buy the more expensive stuff, you will get a better digestive experience in general. Like, it's just, at the studio, I just buy it and sell it, but Momentous, like, is just a really top quality brand, and I sell it because it is top quality. It's expensive, but people get good results from it and feel better. So, is
that whey protein?
Yeah, they have a full line of supplements,
okay.
But it's just one of those really high-end, well-researched, the little pieces way beyond my chemistry set, but sure. It definitely makes a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a shot. I've tried whey so many times, and it's making me, every time it makes me break out when I'm eating a lot of it, especially.
Yeah, I mean, getting protein in general is the first goal. There seems to be some benefit from whey, but not if it's like I wouldn't overstress. But yeah, those top brands they've played games with whatever to make it digest better for sure.
One last selfish question from me. You know how you can get those empty pill capsules and put your own fun stuff in them?
Yeah.
Could you, in theory, get those, put your protein powder into them, and then just down them that way in the morning if you needed to? Like, will that give you a tummy ache, or is that?
I have no reason why you couldn't do that, except it would be a lot.
Yeah.
A lot what?
Well, like 20 grams is a good size scoop.
Oh, shit.
Like, so I don't.
Better in theory?
Yeah.
You've seen the fistful of pills when I take the creatine. I think it's 10 pills to get 5 grams. 5 grams would not be nearly enough for protein to make a difference.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Yep.
It'd be a good way to get collagen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to, like, it depends on budgets, right? Like, these perfect aminos, you can experiment with them. Like, I mean, full disclosure, like, my mother is taking perfect aminos because she's convinced they work. So I'm not super opposed to the concept. I'm just not completely sure you're getting what you're paying for.
Sure. In the vein of experimenting and things that are popular right now, does anyone in your practice or that you've worked with, have they used BPC 157?
Indeed. I'm not allowed to talk about that. It's a research peptide. No, yes, lots of folks. BPC 157 is a peptide. Peptides are naturally produced in the body, but currently there's some really transformational peptides out there that are from weight loss to BPC 157 is theoretically almost magically healing some tendons and significant joint issues. They are currently labeled as research only because the FDA has not approved them. So if you want to buy them, you have to go to a website which will say not for human consumption. You have to purchase them yourself, and then you have to take the risk and experiment with them. Having said that, yes, I've got quite a few of my clients trying them, and honestly, like, from what I'm hearing, I have not tried any of them firsthand, super positive results. Like most of the, like, if you just Google it and read what people say, like a lot of it seems to be true. I'm also like, I'm pretty non-mainstream, so I'm like early to not trust the FDA. So I probably lean into that. I have to pull myself back from going too far into the biohacking world. But I would say that's one of those that, at your own risk, as a licensed clinician, I can't say too much about it, but I'd say if you're having an injury that's significant and chronic and you like want to look for some alternative solution, it's probably worth doing your own research and checking out.
Yeah.
And from what I can gather, again, do your own research, not health advice here, but I'm not seeing any real side effects other than spending some money and making sure you find a reputable company, which good peptide companies will include a certificate from a third party that it's been assessed. So really easy to find, though you will probably have to pay more than some of the knockoff brands. But don't buy one that doesn't at least do that.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's your take? Have you?
I'm on one right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
What?
I'm just a couple weeks in, so I haven't really noticed. For the previously mentioned knee issue, I wanted to see if it would do anything.
Totally.
So far, nothing.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear, but like,
I think they said the minimum protocol would be like at least a month until you start feeling better, and like 2 months is probably more realistic.
Yeah, I think that one's takes some time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing in the fitness and health world, the retatrutide is this weight loss one that's like, it will be next to the market. It's blowing all the current ones out of the water, but currently even the fitness people, like bodybuilders, are buying it for their final cut, and it's like instant. Like you take it and 24 hours later, you're like losing weight. It's dumbfounding.
Yeah. And that one in particular is preferentially burning fat as opposed to muscle.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, it's really, I've been a little like, not to get this too off track, but GLP-1s, like, we're all better off losing fat if like that's the only solution, but there's been some risks and side effects for sure. And this one seems like it's likely to be like solving for a lot of those and really targeting better. Anyone playing with these, though, should obsessively be on a strength program, because that's the next risk, is that we're seeing people lose body weight and huge amounts of lean muscle mass along with it. So.
Yeah. I'm a little bit scared as to what's going to happen with society with everyone on GLP-1s, because like there's no biological free lunch. Like I've heard some things about like it will affect your dopamine pathways. And, like there's going to be some unintended consequences to this that we're just not aware of yet. Yeah. But I mean, if you're vastly overweight and this is the thing that's getting you to be underweight or at a healthy weight, it's a good trade-off to make.
I think so. Like that's my pitch. Like I don't know that I would pitch people 15 or 20 pounds overweight using them. I think you need a better plan, but obesity is the most dangerous thing in the country, like from a health perspective. So like lose the weight, and if that's what it takes, do it. And that risk is better. Totally. That's my take.
Yeah. Okay, we've been doing this for a while, so we'll put a pin in it there. We'll definitely do a round 3 at some point, because there's still a lot of subject matter to cover. But
I'm impressed with how much not overlap we had.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you guys did a good job.
Yeah.
The right questions. That was super fun.
Yeah, so you mentioned your hiking program. Just let people know, you mentioned the YouTube.
Yep.
Please let everyone know where they can get more.
Awesome. So, yeah, I'm super easy to find. So you could Google my name because it's the only one so far, but also Run Free PT. Everything's under that. But what I've been doing, as I mentioned, is I do have a studio here locally, so anyone around that wants to come should check me out. But digitally, I've been treating and coaching most of my clients digitally. I have an actual Run Free PT app. I put all the programming in it. I coach, so you have access to me in there. And so what I've been doing is selling high ticket rehab and coaching. But recently I've started to build out, take all that clinical knowledge from all the clients I've seen and try to build out like a templated, really solid base. So in lieu of coming on here, I've done that, put in the final effort to get an 18-week, literally a thru-hiker program. So it's 18 weeks. It's progressive. So even if you're heading out next month, it would be worth like jumping into the first month and getting there. Or if you have the time or you're going out in 2 years or whatever, like the whole thing. And what it is, because it's all built out and in the app, you can go on, you can buy it, you can use it. You still have, like I said, you can communicate with me in the app. I'll check in. But I'm able to offer that at a way better price because it's not the one-on-one coaching. It's not consuming all my time. So for you guys, for any Trek listeners, we'll have the link in the show notes. I'm going to offer that for $199 for the whole 18 weeks in there. So, and I'll do that for, let's call it the first 3 weeks after the show launches. And then it'll just go up to $299. So my goal is really to everything we've just talked about, just to organize that and lay that out for you in a functional manner. And the app does a really good job of that, and you have access. And if you get injured or need some feedback along the way, then you have a way to check in with me. But yeah, I'd love people to check it out. I've been doing it with the marathon program for a while now, and people are having great success. So if you want the one-on-one coaching, feel free to reach out. It's easy from my website to find free assessments and all the rest. But if you're interested in just a digital foundational program to really build that durability and kind of everything we've talked about, check it out.
Sweet. Wait, we have a sponsor question.
We sure do.
This is the Stay Salty question presented by LMNT. We learned before the show that you're a big fan of LMNT.
Huge fan.
Yeah. Use our URL, drinklmnt.com/trek for a free sample pack with your order. Do you have a hottest take in the world of, we'll say, backpacking, outdoors? Like, I think you've given us a lot of unpopular opinions already, but I'm curious if there's one that stands out for you.
A hottest take? Yeah, I mean, I guess two. One that we've just killed, but like, it's just that strength training is non-negotiable. Like, you have got to be strength training, and you've got to be going heavy, and you've got to be going hard, or you're just not doing yourself a favor. And the other one, which we didn't delve into, is junk mileage. Hikers are some of the worst I've ever worked with. And I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's just a reality. Like, pay attention to what you're doing, get some good programming, because junk mileage will kill you faster than anything.
Can you define junk mileage?
Yeah, we could go for another 2 hours. It's mileage that's meaningless. So I mentioned it with the ankle weights. Like, I guess it's asking the question why. Like, why would I do that? But with junk mileage, what we find is, okay, I'm going to go do this long hike this summer. The solution is to, every chance I get, go put in as many miles as I can, any way I can. And there's no built-in durability. There's no stacking. There's no progression. There's no zone 2 or zone 5. So typically, like, it's this zone 3, 4 day after day. And you feel really good. Like, I'm working hard. I sweated. I'm building mileage. And then you don't feel good. You're broken. And all of that seemingly useful training, it was just a waste because it wasn't tapping into the right system. So I don't want to make hiking, like I said, I'm not obsessed with making it this obsessive science-driven, data-driven activity, because we're all out there for the mental health as much as anything. But junk mileage is real, and if you want to enjoy getting through these hikes and training, you've got to just figure out that foundation a little of train below, train above, but that middle ground is the most typical. And then don't pretend like training every day is going to build you up for the thru-hike, because it's not. You've got to build in blocks. You've got to use some wisdom for block and recovery. And so poor training habits is kind of, does that explain junk mileage?
Yeah, I think you've broken some hearts.
Yeah, I'm sure, because it's what this is endurance athletes, right? Like, it's always a mental thing that draws us in, and then we get hooked, and then we just grind until you blow up. I'm not familiar enough with like through hiking culture to know if this is true, but I would guess it's true. And it's where I've seen it is in ultra running, and ultra runners do exactly that. They get hooked. Oftentimes, like, they're running from something, so they get hooked to this new addiction. Lots of miles, they crush it. They just do these 100-mile races. They're these amazing endurance athletes for 1, 2, 3 years, and then they're gone and they can't run again, and they just blow their system out. And it's because, like, unfortunately, we're just not built to just like go endlessly. Most of us, and don't watch the one guy that can just because like he's a bad example. The one genetic freak that you know that says, "Oh, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm fine." Like, most of us, that's not going to work. So
it's like the person that eats bacon and drinks whiskey every day and lives to be 100.
Yeah, good for them, but like not real for most of us.
Yeah.
Most of us are average, unfortunately. We're in that little bell curve.
Yeah. Well, Freeborn, this was a ton of fun and very informative. So thank you for your time. We'll do a round 3 here before long. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us here in Backpack Radio.
Thanks for having me on.
To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show.
Wait, I want more trivia, though.
I
really liked
You're
that.
You're going to have to wait.
That was nice.
It was even more fun when you didn't cheat.
You're right. It was more fun because I didn't cheat.
Our Thursday listeners will know exactly what we're talking about, but Chaunce tried to do the lowest dirty thing that you could do.
Right out the gate.
I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same things.
I don't want to look like a dummy. You know?
No, I get it. It's the first trivia, too.
What if you asked me about something super basic backpacking related and I blew it? You know, like what right do I have to sit in this seat?
What is the name of the thing that carries the stuff?
Ooh! Sleeping bag. Shoot.
You be pink slipped on the spot.
Yeah.
This is the 11 most dangerous animals on the AT by, of course, the Katie Jackson. I'm going to highlight a few here. The first one is, if you know me, this is the most obvious. If you know the AT, it should be the most obvious. And the correct answer is the deer tick. Don't let the name fool you. These tiny arachnids are, I didn't realize they were.
Are they arachnids?
That's what this says. Are the undisputed heavyweight of trail danger. Barely the size of a poppy seed, they can carry Lyme disease, a debilitating neurological condition that can end a hike and impact a life far faster than a bear could. According to this year's AT survey, 5% of respondents contracted Lyme disease during their hike.
I guess when you look at a tick, it does have 8 legs.
Yeah. I just always think of spider when I think of arachnid. But
Right. Also 8 legs, though. Yes, ticks are arachnids, not insects, and are closely related to spiders, scorpions, and mites. I would also argue octopus. Another 8-legged creature.
Yeah, but octopus are just good. Only good.
Only good.
The rest of those things are not my pals.
Larval ticks have 6 legs, but nymph and adult ticks have 8.
Huh.
So I guess you know if you're dealing with a baby or an adult based on how many legs it has. Ticks go through 4 life stages: egg, larva, nymph, and adult.
Fact. The second animal, timber rattlesnake. If you hike the full AT, you're almost certainly going to see one of these. You saw one, right?
I saw people who saw them.
Oh, you never saw one?
I was hiking with someone who was right behind me that saw a rattlesnake and a copperhead on a dirt road looking at each other. Glad I didn't see that. I remember when I was going through the Rocky, Pennsylvania part that people had seen dens of them around whatever that lookout was. I didn't see them. I was very scared around Sun Lake, whatever that one is in New Jersey, because they were supposed to be around the shore, and like you could barely walk around the shore without getting your feet wet, and so I was terrified there.
I did see a full, is it a den of copperheads?
I would hate that so much.
But I learned those are the most docile guys of all time. I think you really have to fuck with them to get bit by a copperhead. Like you have to like step in its mouth.
I don't remember if I've seen one on the AT. It took a while for me to see one on the PCT.
Oh.
I don't remember if I saw one on the AT at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I did. And I think that I'm pretty confident that was my first rattlesnake encounter ever.
That's why I'm scared to take Harper on the AT. Is like
your odds of seeing a rattlesnake are probably better just like hiking around Golden, honestly.
Right, but she's a curious girl, and I don't have the heart to get a rattlesnake trained.
It did. When we did the rattlesnake training for Sierra, it did make her just way more, like, she would freak out when she'd pass the stick. She's now so over the training that, like, I've seen her walk right by snakes, not rattlesnakes, and she's just like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, she forgot all of the training. She forgot that she was terrified of sticks that look like snakes, but it does work. You're supposed to do it, continuously, but it does work.
Yeah, don't think I saw one.
Okay. And the last one is yellow jackets. I don't need to go into that, but if you've seen My Girl, you know how bad. I don't know, were those yellow jackets or were those
I haven't
honeybees?
seen My Girl.
You haven't seen My Girl?
No.
I guess it's probably a little bit before your time.
I was gonna say, I mean, unless you have a bee allergy.
My Girl's 91. So.
Is it that bad?
It's a really sad movie. It's with Macaulay Culkin.
No, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about seeing a yellow jacket. Like, if you don't have a bee allergy.
No. If you've got an allergy, then it's bad. But, like, a yellow jacket sting is significantly worse than a bee sting. And I think they're angrier.
Oh.
And their nests are in the ground, so it's easier to step on them on accident. And I have done that.
I do think I got bit in the ankle by a yellow jacket. Stung.
Yeah.
I don't know. On the AT. There was this sharp pain in my ankle, and it seemed like it.
I know I've told this story 1,000 times, but I did step on a nest on the Wonderland Trail. That was the last day at the Wonderland Trail. And I got stung like 3 or 4 times. And one of the guys that I was hiking with, Bo, is a doctor, and my hand started to swell up. And when we got to the car, he later confessed to me that he was like running through the scenarios in his head, and he would have had, like, I started having trouble breathing, he would have run a tracheotomy on me and replaced my esophagus, I guess, with my camelback tube. He was like running through that scenario in his head.
Feels like he should just pack out an EpiPen if he's.
He didn't, but it also, is that his responsibility?
No.
He didn't realize that I was allergic
but
to these.
If I ever was in the position where I thought I had to give someone a tracheotomy with a camel, from then on, I'm just packing out an EpiPen.
Yeah. And as soon as he saw that my hand was swelling, he told me to take 3 Benadryl, I believe. And when we got to the car, I passed out immediately and like slept the entire way back to Seattle. So yeah, those are some scary animals. If you want the full list of 11 dangerous animals on the AT, head to the link in the show notes. Let's go to the question of the day.
Okay.
This is a ZD question. Perhaps obvious. How do you feel about someone hiking a Triple Crown Trail while leaving a young child at home?
Flip side, is this because you're considering hiking a Triple Crown Trail?
No, 0%.
Okay.
I mean, I think about it every day that the twins are acting a fool. I could just disappear and live under the alias of a new trail name, but no, is the answer.
Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow Dong?
Shadow Dong. I think it's case by case. I don't think there's a blanket yes or no, good or bad. I think it really depends on the 2 sets of parents that you're dealing with, well, the set of parents that you're dealing with, the 2 parents that you're dealing with, and how they are. Because if you're talking about someone who does a larger portion of the work around the child and maybe carries more of the mental load and has to run the ship a little more heavily, that could be very challenging for them to leave and go on trail while the child is at home. If it's someone with a partner who's not very supportive and isn't very hands-on in the child rearing aspect of things, that could cause some issues in terms of getting their approval and willingness and follow through.
Well, let's remove the partner component of
I
it.
know,
Let's
I'm
say
just
you've
saying
got
my
full
due diligence.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a happy, healthy, equally spread and managed relationship and both people are pulling their weight. I don't see an issue with this. I think people are gone for a bit for different reasons. Not to compare one reason to the other on an equal playing field, but there are reasons that people will be gone for several months at a time. You know, someone could get deployed or go on a mission or travel for work. You know, like there's reasons why someone could be gone. Ultimately, if you're doing a Triple Crown Trail with purpose, it'll take you about 4 to 6 months, depending on the age of the child, which would also be a factor.
I'm going to say define young kid as someone like younger than 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, but like older than 2, right? Like they're out of diapers.
Sure.
I think leaving someone who is incapable of feeding themselves, maybe like that's a lot of work on the other person. But if it's a child that's past that phase, I don't see a problem with it. I think it's good I mean, I don't have kids, so take everything I say with a grain of salt from someone who doesn't have a kid. But I would imagine it would be good for a kid to see their parents support each other in accomplishing big life goals and find ways to make it work where the other person can do something incredible. I think it would give a good impression of my life doesn't end when I have kids to the kid, and that like their parents are still achieving dreams. I think if the parent is in a place that they feel like they really need to do a long trail to feel whatever it is they want to feel, chances are they come back a better person and a better parent. I think if the partner at home is willing and able, it's possible to bring the child to see the parent along the trip at several points, and that it doesn't have to be they don't see them the whole time and, you know, that much distance. I only really see problems there if there's like not a good flow for it in the relationship itself with the parents. I think if the person at home was resentful or not supportive or didn't pull their weight or normally didn't manage things and didn't know how to manage things and things slipped, that would create some uncertainty and chaos for the kid, which wouldn't be great. But I think if the other person at home feels like they've got it, and maybe they put things in place like while I'm gone we have a house cleaner come and we save and budget for that, and while I'm, you know, like we have a lawn maintainer come and we save and budget for that, things that can help the person at home feel like they still have an extra hand if they don't. I think it's a good example to show a kid, hey, your parents can do hard things, can challenge themselves, and aren't just like an old person that sits on the couch.
Yeah. I'm going to discount like all of the partner relationship aspects part of it.
I think that's huge for it though.
But this is the only aspect that I'm personally evaluating.
Okay.
I'll just assume all those ducks are in a row. You've got the house maintenance. It's not just like the partner's on board and all the
Yeah, which part are you judging?
leaving your fucking kid. Like, to you say deployment or a work trip. Like
That's why I'm saying they're not the same. Like I'm not comparing someone who's.
Oh, I thought you were putting it in the same camp.
No, I'm saying that there are other reasons that a parent could maybe not be home for that length of time besides.
And I take no issue if you get deployed. Like
right, those
serving
the
the military is a very noble thing, and you know that's also your job. Like.
But you don't come home like. I don't think someone comes home from that and like they don't know their kid anymore. In like maybe if you're gone for a really long time, but I'm talking 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Strictly 4 to 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, a young kid, that could be like 10% of their life. Like that's a significant portion. And I think to go do that to pursue something that is completely selfish. And like I'm removing, let's say you're Bill Bryson and you're writing a book. That's maybe like a slight exception to the scenario. I think if you're just doing this to find yourself, for me personally, you got to sack up. That's selfish. You have to be there for your kid, and I don't like it. And this is something that like I encounter as somebody that runs a Thru-Hiking website.
I do think you should maybe find yourself before bringing another life into the world.
100%. This
like,
is not something you do.
I think that's a different category. But I think also though, if like there are ways to make it work that aren't shitty. Like there are ways to have your partner and your child come meet you at different places. There are ways to maybe even have the child hike with you for a bit of it, depending on where they are in life and schooling. There are ways to make it really engaging and not like a total, we have no contact for this time.
Yeah.
So I would be hesitant to just put a blanket no on it, because I think with the right dynamic, and that's why I bring up the partner so much, I think with the right dynamic, it could work well as a one-time 4 to 6 month thing, right? Like go do a calendar triple, don't go do 3 back-to-back in 3 summers, but for one season, depending on the motivation and the needs going into it, and the support system and what that looks like and how you include the child throughout it, I could see it working.
I think that there are ways to make that work, but I think with the traditional most of these trips start in spring, kids are in school, like it's going to be really hard unless they're homeschooled for them to be involved in that level of the trail. I hear what you're saying, and I do think that there are ways to make it a little bit less abandoning, I think is the word I'm looking for. But to me, in general, again, to each their own. Anyone, it's your own life. You can do whatever you want, obviously. But I struggle with it when I hear someone say that they're doing that.
Are you thinking of it as a specific role? Like when I think about the question, I'm thinking about the mom going and hiking.
No, I'm not thinking about the spouse whatsoever.
See, for me, I can't help but put myself in those shoes. And that's why I bring up the partner so much, because I feel like dad taking the reins for 4 to 6 months, if he's capable and willing and able to, could work out really great and could like very much strengthen that bond between them and the child. But I feel like a lot of the times...
You don't need one parent to leave to work on
No, you don't. But I think a lot of the times the mom carries more of the mental load and more of the operational side of the family. And so for the husband to leave and go hike the trail, the way my brain works, there would be more added to the mom's plate versus if the mom were to go hike it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a sexist asshole, but
yeah, I think it's hard for the other person.
When I view it as the mom going and doing it, I'm like, give the girl a break, let her go do it.
But if it's the guy, it's no way.
I mean, I just don't.
Poor Carrie.
A majority of dads don't carry most of the mental load and the operational home tasks and like the day to day of the kids' lives. That does fall mainly on the mom, and that's statistics. That's not.
Yeah, but I think that is shifted heavily from like when your parents' age. Like
sometimes, but there's still a wage gap. There's still men make more than women. There's still when you have kids and someone needs to tone back their career and you look at who's making more money, it typically does fall on the woman. There's still a lot of things that are still in place that makes that dynamic.
I think we're getting off the
Yeah, we definitely are. But I'm just saying my perspective of this. I'm coming as mom wants to go do this trail, and I think we find a way to let her do it.
So the mom can do it, but the dad can't.
No, the dad can do it too. I'm just telling you the reason why I'm thinking about it this way is that's the perspective I'm coming from. I'm a woman. I'm thinking about it from a woman's perspective. I think it could be good, but I also think it could be really bad.
Yeah.
You know, like if either of them leave and they go hike this thing and they're like shooting beers in town and, you know, having a great time and not calling home, yeah, really bad. Right? Like it would have to very much be something you plan with the family unit as a central focus of how often can I call, how often can I see, where can they meet, how can we hike together, like how do we make this a thing that we can all get something from, even if it's just me going.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. To me it feels like abandonment. The last trip I went on was a week and Leo cried most of the nights that I was gone. Like if your kid doesn't love you to the extent of like it not being that big of a deal for you being gone for up to 10% of its life, maybe the parenting relationship needs more of a focus to begin with, is where I'm coming from.
What really should be stressed in this question is that I don't have kids.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, sure, it's tough to empathize.
I'm coming at this from a perspective of this is what I've seen and observed, but I don't have any lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I would hate to think that if I have a kid, I can't go hike something long.
I mean, you can do it. You can shoot heroin at the house if you...
Well, I think my first priority would be I would like to bring them with me. But that's a whole bag of worms in terms of, is that good? But then I have to dream of maybe I could get Garrett in one of those built-out vans, and it could be like a supported thing, and the kid could be going back and forth between the two based on their mood and vibe, and if they feel like hanging out with mom or dad, or...
Let's go back to the original question.
This is a loaded question because you're basically asking me, like, am I going to be able to Triple Crown hike or do long hikes once I have a kid?
Well, so the question is, again, verbatim, while leaving a young kid at home.
Yeah.
I don't take issue with like the Strawbridges of the world that bring your kids with and find out the homeschooling thing. Like, more power to them. I think that's actually really cool. If you're still an engaged parent while through hiking, you can find the way to make that work. I actually admire that.
But that's both parents going. What if only one parent goes? Is it better for the parent that goes to bring the kid more so than the parent that doesn't go to keep the kid? Like, is one better than the other based on where the kid goes? Because either way, one of them is not there.
I think all things being equal, provided both parents are like of emotionally sound mind, is better when both parents are involved with the child.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm projecting a bit.
You don't have a kid and then triple crown. I say
No.
don't do that.
But like with the mile by mile stuff I do, I would love to do the AT again. And I would love to do it again where I take all the research I've done and like maybe when I'm doing my vlogs this time, like I can include stories and I can like there's just so many ways I can take this research and there's so many ways that I could supplement it by going out and getting parts of this. And I've thought about this a lot where it's like, well, it doesn't need to be a through hike and I probably wouldn't like a through hike. It probably would be good as a section hike and maybe I would do a state at a time and I would go get that footage and I'd come back and I'd really refine it and I'd insert photos from archives. I don't know. It's been on top of mind a lot, but the idea of me also being in a place in my life where kids will be on the horizon, it's a very sensitive question because it's like, this is something I think about a lot.
I mean, if you're working remotely, doing the van life, you're with your kids, that's not different than doing a remote job from home.
True, but then I have to get Garrett on board with that lifestyle.
That's a different question for a different day.
I know. I'm basically taking this question and making it really personal.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel. I think that I'm not in a position to judge someone who's living a life that I haven't experienced yet. And I haven't experienced having a kid yet, so anything I say...
Well, you've never been a parent, but you've been a kid. How would you felt if your mom left for 6 months when you were 7 years old?
Well, my dad almost had to leave for a bit because he was a video engineer, and there was a time where the NFL wanted him to do whatever it was he was doing with them, and he was going to have to go on the road and follow whatever team or whatever it was for the season. And I remember that being a big thing where, like, he had a lot of like weight around which he would choose and he ultimately chose not to go.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid being like, fucking go. Like the house will be way less strict. You know? I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And he chose not to and, you know, more power to him. But I mean, we weren't like spending a super large amount of quality time together at like normally. So it didn't really, for me as a kid, I felt like it didn't affect me much if he went, because he wasn't super active in the parenting side of things. So I remember standing at the edge of their bed when they said he wasn't gonna go, and I was just like, why?
Fuck.
Yeah, partially fuck, like he was strict,
Yeah.
but also why?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it totally depends.
Keeping the specific parental dynamics out of the conversation that you just are the story that you mentioned.
I don't know.
Him I don't. Career opportunity.
All of this leads back to how do you feel about someone hiking a Triple Crown Trail while leaving a young kid at home? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. That was a long way to get to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes in my mind when I think about it, and a lot of it is driven by personal, where I'm at in life right now, thoughts, and thinking about what my life will look like in the next 5 to 10 years. And it being hard to like give up a part of your identity and feel like it has been, but I don't know. I don't have a kid. Maybe I have a kid and I look at it and I think I could never leave you. I cry when I'm away from Harper for 48 hours, so I imagine it'll be like that but worse. But who knows?
Yeah. From my perspective, as a parent, when my kids were born, your identity does shift. Like you live to serve. This is how I feel. I don't know how all parents feel, or I'm not even saying this is the way that you should feel, but I do feel that I now live to serve them. I'm not the most important person that I'm in control of anymore.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
Well, there's an unhinged segment into my brain.
Yeah. I mean, I guess ditto.
Yeah. If anyone thought it was peaceful up there, now you know just one of the many things that plague me at night.
Final verdict: mom can, dad can't.
No, it's not mom can, dad can't. It's just if everyone's pulling their weight, it should be okay. Because if you find a way where it's not just you're gone, you can't just leave and come back 6 months later and not have done any work in between. There has to be a way. There could even be an educational way. There could be a way where you take it and you like Like the kid has like activities they can do through like where's mom? Like, I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. I just think there could be a way that it could work and it could be really good, but I think it would take some work and I think it would take work on both parts of the partnership, and it's not as straightforward as you would think.
I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate mail for my opinion there. But
No, I don't think so. I think I make it hate mail for making all these assumptions as someone without a kid. I'm
No.
like assuming a life I don't have.
No, your answer honestly was the safer answer because it's like.
I just bash dads in a way.
No, I don't think you did. I mean, there's a little sexism, but I think rooted.
And if it's fact based, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It's still sexism if it's fact based.
Well, that's a deep conversation
See,
because you can apply any ism and then use the same anyways. The triple crown of.
Let's move away from that.
Yeah, I have to change it. The triple crown of people at the gym.
Yes, people at the gym. I've got such a long list.
You want to go first?
Yeah. The tanning booth high schooler. This is the person that only has the gym membership because of the tanning booth. That only.
Do gyms still have tanning booths? I mean, it's fine. It can
I don't
exist
know.
at any point in history.
I assume. I would think Planet Fitness still does. But the person that goes not to use the workout equipment, but to get their 15 minutes in the sun and then leaves.
That's interesting. I've been to a lot of gyms. I've never had a.
I've never been a girl in high school.
You don't know that.
It was like the thing people did.
Yeah.
You get the
I've been
sticker.
I've been to a tanning bed before.
Yeah, but if you go to a tanning bed, you are accepting that you're a tanning bed person that goes to a tanning bed salon. If you go to the gym and use the tanning bed, you're just going to the gym and you happen to be using the tanning bed,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. That's maybe how I am about saunas now. I've had days where I go to the gym just to go to the sauna, but yeah, different.
See, I don't know if I could use other people. I don't know. Don't take my second one unless you're going to take my second one.
I got two that jumped out to me right away when we were deciding on the subject. The first is the divorcee, and this is somebody who's very tan, fake boobs, hair and makeup done to a T. Like, looks like they're ready for a photo shoot. And the specific thing that I'm thinking of has like 15 different dude friends. Like, she's the most social gal at the gym.
I'm picturing her in my head and I can see her nipples through her tank top.
Probably some hard nip action for sure. I don't think I've ever actually seen her do a lift.
But she's toned and strong.
She looks great, but you can tell, without making she's 45. Her boobs are 4 to 5 years old. Yeah. And she's very popular.
I feel like she's got great shoulders, though.
The particular one, she's on the skinnier side.
The one I'm thinking of has really toned arms.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what she's doing to get these arms, but her arms are toned.
Yeah.
Not thin, but like strong.
Sure, yeah, like muscle.
Not jacked.
Yeah. The second is, I guess, sort of the flip side of this is, and maybe I'll probably be this guy in 10 years, is the steroid TRT guy. Just the guy who's 60 and like unreasonably strong. Not only like big muscles, but the vein is 3 times the size of the muscle. There's the vein in the neck, and like you can just tell at any given point in life he's near sweating.
Yeah, this overlaps one of mine, which is the loud guy who can't put things down gently.
I have that on my list as well.
Is that a different one?
Yeah, but if that's your pick.
No, it's not my pick. That sounds like who you're describing.
Well, TRT guy, he kind of lives on the social end of the spectrum too. I mean, he's lifting when he's there because his identity is tied to his big muscles, in part. But he's also sleeveless almost all the time. But yeah, it's just the second wave of puberty is hilarious at my gym. Just the guys that are 5 times stronger than I am and like a year away from retiring.
Fair.
Yeah.
The naked person in the sauna.
Yeah.
There's just someone who's like, this is my turf and you're on it.
Have you experienced that before?
No, I won't go into a sauna in a public gym.
I think that's like pretty highly illegal. Unless that's not true. Okay, so you're thinking.
So maybe I'm just making up what I think it is in my mind.
You're right. There's 2 classifications or 2 different categories of sauna. the same sex and then the multi-gender.
I'm thinking the same sex.
Sexes, yeah, you can definitely go balls out.
I just can't go. A sauna in a public gym, I'm breathing in everyone else's sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I can think of while I'm in there. And so every breath is a gag. There's no way I could last more than 3 seconds. I would throw up.
The sauna at the Golden Rec Center is about the size of this table, but 2 rows. And like every time I've been in there, it's been like shoulder to shoulder with other people.
No.
And outrageously hot. It's like 200 degrees.
I look at who else is in there, and I think, would I like to lick this person's arm?
You're about to.
And if I think, no, that doesn't sound good, why am I in there? Because that's what I'm breathing in.
Yeah.
But there's someone that is always so comfortable and so in the routine of going to that sauna that they basically forget that it's not just their sauna, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
My next one is the really, really sweaty person who doesn't wipe down their machines.
Sure.
They use different machines. Sometimes they're running on the treadmill at a pace that sounds like they are stomping through a roof. Sometimes they go and use one of the push-pulls or one of the leg thingies. They are sweating a lot, and they seem to forget that you should spray and wipe down your machine after you're done using it, because they're just so strong and working out so hard that they could just go to their next one. I don't know the motivations, but they seem to forget that that's a part of the routine.
I have been guilty of, like, I'll do supersets on 2 different machines, and if like it's not crowded there, I'll go back and forth. Because otherwise it's chaotic, because literally you're going to have to wipe down a machine 8 different times if you're going back and forth. I'm kind of just working with the assumption of, like, please don't use either of these machines, they'll be fast. But then I wipe down both machines when I'm done with them. But
Knowing
there is
the
possibility, there is the possibility that somebody comes in when I'm on the other machine and gets
Right.
on, and they're like, ew.
You gotta, like, leave your fanny pack or your water bottle or something on the chair.
Yeah.
Knowing the context, that seems fine. For me, I would have such crippling anxiety that someone would have seen me get up from one and go to the other and not know that that's the plan, and that they would just be looking at me like, asshole.
Yeah.
And then I would die inside.
Is that 2? That was 2, right?
That was 2.
We tease it. I'll finish it off. But yeah, the guy who is not afraid to grunt during his lifts. It's always like the Olympic style lifts, the deadlifts, the snatches, the squats. Right. Yeah, anything where the weight is being dropped. But it's like the
right.
The sound of
There's a
plates.
combo. It's loud guy, can't put things down gently.
Yeah. No, there's always one person in the room in the gym that is he's audibly peacocking.
What is he trying to get out of it?
I mean, technically, I think it is helpful in terms of, like, maxing to let out a grunt. I actually don't know the mechanics behind that.
Is he showing off to me? Is he showing off to you?
I think that's more it.
Is he showing off to himself? Does he just not care?
I think there's probably a little bit look at me syndrome happening right now.
But is he trying to attract, like a lady? Or is he trying to attract, like, not attract in, like, a sexual way, but is he trying to get, like, the other men to look and be jealous?
Sure.
Or is he trying to, like, get the divorcee to come up to him and be like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, this could all be tied together. He's trying to outcompete the other TRT guy to get the divorcee's attention. This is like 2 rams butting heads for the right to mate.
This guy's got a very specific haircut. It's, like, short, and there's a little flip up in the front, and it's all gelled, but stringy almost, because it's thinning out. And he's red. His face is red.
Yeah, the TRT will do that.
What do you mean by TRT?
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Okay.
Which is just like
I
diet
keep thinking
steroids.
Tahoe Rim Trail.
Yeah. In the backpacking context, I should stipulate, but yes.
Honorable mentions, the person who, this is a Planet Fitness thing from high school, so I don't know if they still do this, but the person who only comes in on Bagel Monday or Pizza Tuesday.
I've never seen either.
It's like the first Monday and the first Tuesday of the month. Like the first Monday they would bring in bagels, and the first Tuesday they'd bring in pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you'd get, like, it was free.
That's funny.
So in high school it was great because I was like, we get a free slice of pizza.
Yeah.
And so there was some times where it was like the only day you go to the gym is when it's Pizza Tuesday.
I don't know if I've ever seen free food at a gym. So that might just be a Planet Fitness thing.
It's smart.
It's a cool idea.
Feed them bagels. They'll
Yeah.
have to come back.
For sure. That's carbo loading, baby.
The other honorable mention is the surprisingly strong tiny girl. She's in a oversized t-shirt that, like, almost covers all her shorts. So you can't tell if she's wearing pants. but she's either like at that machine where you put your arms on the thing and you hold onto it and you do the leg lifts, or you bring them up 90 degrees and down. She's doing like 100 reps of those, or she's at the pull-up bar and she's just doing pull-ups like they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
She's very tiny, she's very small, she's wearing the most oversized shirt, and she's doing something incredibly athletic as if it's nothing.
She's probably a gymnast. Gymnasts are the best athletes, bar none.
Yeah. I know this person is in the gym because that's the person my eyes lock with and I just stare at in awe the whole time. I'm like, how do you do it?
Yeah. I've got the elliptical junkie.
Yeah.
Every time I'm at the gym in my gym goings at varied times, it could be Tuesday at 9 or Thursday at 7 p.m. She's there.
The gazelle.
She is
That's
a gazelle.
what she is.
Yeah. She's watching something on Netflix on her iPad on the elliptical, and she doesn't have an ounce of body fat on her, and she's just going to town on the elliptical.
Yeah. Also, the person in the pool with the goggles and the head net, whatever you call that head, the thing.
Yeah.
Which also just blows my mind that strangers pee in that pool after sweating. They sweat a lot. They go in that pool without showering first. You know not everyone does.
Yeah.
And then they pee.
I'm grossed out by it.
And you have put on goggles and a head thing because you are that committed to having your face be under that water. That is a person I will never understand.
Yeah. We were talked about dong dude. Oh, that was the last episode. Just the old guys in the gym that are just like doing their stretches on the bench with their dicks out. They're always the youngest dong out dude is 65, but they're usually closer to like 75, 80.
No, there's dong out dudes at like 20, 30. There's the dudes that have the shorts that are slightly shorter than they usually are because they're young and they want to show off their legs, but they don't wear anything underneath them. And all you need is them sitting on the machine that goes like that or doing a certain type of stretch. I love seeing a stray ball. Not in a sexual way. Not in like an I'm turned on way. It's like, just so funny to me. I've seen so many balls at shelters.
Yeah.
Where like a guy's sitting on the edge of the shelter with his legs spread and he doesn't realize like the angle is directly to the ball, and I just giggle the whole time. And there are guys at the gym that the positions they're in and what they're wearing, you just, if they sit the right way, you can't help but to see a ball, and it just gets me so bad.
I was gonna say, I have to imagine in the history of time, not one lady has been turned on by the glance of a side ball.
It takes everything in me to not tell the person.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so funny that I'm like, I just want to share it.
Yeah.
And it's so not sexual that I'm like, what's the harm in saying it?
Yeah.
But it makes me laugh.
Are there ladies out there that are turned on by side ball? Because like side boob is a really awesome thing. Okay.
No.
Side boob's the best.
A side ball is just, it's funny. It's comedic relief. It's like you open your phone in the middle of a hard day and you see a funny meme. Because the guy's not coming at you aggressively. They're not hitting on you. They know like they're not expressing interest. So there's none of that happening. You just see a ball you're not supposed to see.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
But still a very different category than old guy hanging dong in the locker room.
Yeah.
That is intentional. They want everyone to see their dick.
Really?
They're usually not the most impressive dicks. I've seen some good old guy dicks
Where do
in
they
my
hang
day.
it? It comes out the bottom of their short?
They're naked. Literally.
In the gym?
No, in the locker room.
Oh, I thought you meant while working out.
No. This is literally they walk around the locker room naked.
Yeah.
They will like stretch on the bench. They're in no rush to get changed. Like any guy under the age of 60, even when they're naked, it's not like they're hanging out having a conversation. Like you get naked, you put your clothes on, you do your shit. Old guys can't wait to get naked, and then they'll spend 10 minutes just fucking having their dicks out.
See, I find that to be hilarious.
It's funny. Yeah,
because
I'm not saying
you
it's a bad
can't tell
thing.
me when you're 70 and wrinkly and just like not looking good in terms of compared to the average physique, things sag a little bit more. You can't tell me that at that point in your life it's not funny as fuck to do that and like try to like act like you're not looking, but like observe people being like taken aback by it. That would make me laugh so hard.
I don't know if they're doing it for the shits and giggles, or if it's just like you mentioned that in your 30s you give less fucks. I think when you're that age you have no fucks left to give, so it's just like might as well be naked. I don't know the reason, but I agree with you that it's funny. It's not a bad thing.
If I'm 75 and I'm at the gym, I don't know why I would be, but if I am, I would find it to be hilarious to just come out of the shower, come out of where I am in the locker room, take one of my sagging boobs, throw them over my shoulder like a scarf, and just like peruse through my locker and just like try to catch a glimpse of someone being like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I hope this is happening in the ladies' lab rooms too, because it's a sight to behold.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's good. All right. Mailbag.
Hi, Zach. What the fuck? Okay. Hi, Zach. You talked in the latest episode about...
We've gotten several hi Chaunce emails.
That was not a reaction I planned. It was just instinct. It was involuntary. You talked in the latest episode about journaling in the GPS app. Well, with the Coros Nomad watch, you can do that. You press a button, can record a voice, a note, or picture from your location and or type something. After your trip, you have like an audio and note recap together with a map, locations, and flyover. Pretty cool. I tried to do it. I don't have the watch, and I did find it a nice feature. How did you try to do it without the watch? YouTube link. Cheers from Belgium, Steven.
I can tell you didn't read that one with as much gusto. It wasn't addressed to you.
I'm just offended. Sounds cool. Thanks, Steven.
Thank you, Steven. I enjoyed that mailbag very much.
Yeah.
Also,
just jealous.
Good to know. That was the intro to mountaineering episode I mentioned. Like that would be a cool feature. And every time you say that, it is a feature already. Somebody's already done it. Thanks, Steven. 5-star review.
You have to call the sticker for listening to all episodes. The through listener. I want a through listener sticker.
I like that.
I like that too.
But how do we...
Another hard thing to prove. It's like Shadow Dong.
Right. We have to do some obscure trivia question, which is tough for you and I because we don't remember the thing that we were talking about 5 minutes ago.
What if we treat this like a summer break library pizza challenge? Write us a summary of what you've learned.
You just threw together a bunch of words that I've never heard combined before.
You never had your library have reading challenges, and if you read the books,
to a library.
You've never been ever.
I'm joking.
Jesus Christ. They would do that. You read a certain number of books, you win a pizza party or something. I don't remember. Like a thing. It was kind of honor policy if you read the books, but at the same time, you would have to write something like a summary to show that you read them. So I don't know how you would explain it, but you would try.
Oops.
So if you have something you want to tell us and you want to leave us a 5-star review, that'd be really great. We do love to read them here. You can tell us anything you want. You just can't leave 1, 2, 3, or 4 stars.
You can say mean things.
You can say mean things
about us.
We don't want to read things where you're bashing a guest. It just feels wrong. But if you don't like us or the show, you could tell us in a 5-star review, and the trade-off is you're giving 5 stars, sure, but we get to read whatever mean things you have to say on air. Or it could just be something incredibly nice, and that's even better. But we do like to do this, and we do it at every episode. So if you haven't left one yet and you'd like to, it's a fun thing for us to do, and we would appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you do leave us a 5-star review, screenshot that review, email us, podcast@thetrek.co. We will send you a sticker. Whether you're a through listener or not, doesn't matter. Thank you to today's title sponsor, LMNT.
We love LMNT.
We forgot to include their product on the table for the segment portion of the show. But that's okay, because they got additional plugs, because today's guest, Freeborn, gave his own plug. He was saying very sincerely before we started how much he fucking swears by LMNT, and given he's a doctor of physical training, that goes a long way.
Should we do our giveaway?
What was our giveaway?
Our giveaway is...
Oh, yeah.
Our giveaway is, if you are watching on YouTube and you see these beautiful cans, they look like High Noon cans, or what's the one?
Celsius?
No, it's an alcohol that doesn't taste very good. It's watery.
Topo Chico?
No, not the Topo Chico.
White Claw.
White Claw. It's a can that looks like a White Claw can. It's the tall, narrow one. They've refined their liquid recipe, and these ones are really good. And we have a box that contains...
We'll do 12. We'll do 12 cans.
That's it.
Well, we gotta save some for guests.
Okay, 12 cans. You can have 12 cans of these elements. The contest to win them is you have to message us and say that you want them. And
Wait,
you
no.
have to.
No. This is for Patreon people.
Yeah, this is for Patreon people.
We're still workshopping this.
Okay, this.
A
They have to come pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to come get them.
Yeah. We're
Really pigeonholing this.
We didn't really talk through the specifics of it, but
You think we have Patreon people that are local?
sure.
Okay. We'll start off.
We've met Patreon people at many of our events.
We'll start off with if you want 12 of these, and you can pick them up, and you are a patron, write us, let us know.
Via Patreon.
Via Patreon.
Via Patreon DM.
If you're not a Patreon person and you want 12 of these and you can pick them up,
Join us on Patreon.
write us at podcast@thetrek.co and explain why we should still give them to you. Chances are we might. But they are really yummy. We've got a lot of them. They are being overly generous with what they're sending us, and they do take up a little more space than the packets do. But they are really good. Zach recommended on this episode, I think, that I start my day with them to get better sleep.
That was actually Freeborn's recommendation, is that, yes, having salt first thing in the morning is a surefire way to spike your cortisol in the morning, which people associate negatively cortisol, and there is a time and a place for cortisol, and that is the morning. You want your cortisol to spike in the morning as your wake up trigger. That kind of sets your circadian rhythm. It's better than coffee. So yeah, a morning element is a hell of a way to start the day.
I've done it for a couple of days now. It has been nice. Too soon to say that my life has significantly changed, but I have felt a little less groggy in the morning, and it has been nice. So there you go.
And go to drinklmnt.com/trek, and you can still get a free sample pack with your order. That's free, 8 free packets with any order at drinklmnt.com. Good, did we do it?
I think so. Basically, if you want 12 of these, join Patreon or be on Patreon and let us know, and we will try to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's provided you can pick them up because they're heavy and shipping would be outrageous.
We'll have to do this on like a per episode basis, so someone's gonna have to like comment on the episode. We're still workshopping. Just send us a DM and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, on Patreon.
Yeah. Super big thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners from Patreon.
Mhm.
There's Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kindle, Andrew Austin McDaniel, Bill Jensen, Brad Blair from 13 Adventures, Brett Mullins, aka Cruzy, Brian Alsop,
Fables.
Carl Lobster Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marion Outdoors, Eric Casper,
Friendly Ghost.
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Julian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin Hay, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Palace.
Jackson Storm,
Trooper.
Jason Kaiser, Luke Netjes, Maddie in Arizona, Patrick Ciancialo, Randy Sutherland, Rebecca Brave, Roger,
Braveheart.
Rebecca Braveheart, good catch, Roger, Sawyer Products, the St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo.
and Tracy Trigger. Thanks to our guy, Paulie at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com. Get yourself some delicious beans. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok and Threads. I guess we're not on X.
We still have an account.
I'm still on X because that's where all the good sports news is.
I've never been on it. I mean, I don't know my login. I was in college for like a day.
Yeah. Backpacker Radio is not. Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Chaunce.
You can find me on Instagram at Juliana_Chauncey, on YouTube at Juliana Chauncey, and you can get my book Hiking from Home, a long distance hiking guide for family and friends on Amazon.
Appalachian Trails and Pacific Crest Trails are my books. Chaunce and I would be very appreciative for a review on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube.
Hi, Internet.
What's up, Tube? That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.